What's up, everyone? It's another beautiful day. Beautiful day. Sorry for that long intro. Just trying to get some people up on the panel. I'm going to do some shout outs real fast. Shout out to Midlife Brolic. Shout out to Chaotic Truth for coming out. Um, Pistol Partners, I see you in the back. I'm going to pull you up in a second, buddy. Pull you up in a second. Just going to go over the rules. The rules are very simple, everyone. The rules are very simple. The StreamYard is pinned to the top of the chat. The rules are it is an open panel blood sports debate. I see two people in the back. That's good. A completely open panel. Anyone can jump up. If you jump up and you stay for the remainder, or even if you answer one of the questions, you will be put on the poll at the end of the chat, unless someone votes for you to be permanently removed from the channel or from the live for the rest of the day. Here are the general rules for it. $20 remove someone for 30 minutes, $50 for removal for an hour, and $100 is a permanent removal for the entire night. And you can do that through the Cash App. Now, there will be a U poll at the end of the night that will drop in the live chat. You there can vote on who you think won overall throughout the entire night. Whoever the chat decides won, then they get $20. Now, as we progress through this, as we do this more often, that price is obviously going to go up. We'll be raising it by $20 as we get more guests and as we get more Cash Apps coming in. Without further ado, let me pop up the two people in the back. Is everyone good to go?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
You're doing all right. What's up, Pistol Partners? Or what's up, Z? How's it going?
Shit's going on right here, Z. You there? Z
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, hey, hello.
Yeah, what's up, everyone? What's up, everyone? And reminder. I think I sent everyone that I was trying to get on the panel the actual questions, so we'll go through it again, okay?
Mm-hmm.
First question, is Trump going to follow through with his election promises?
You're looking for answers right now?
Yeah, anyone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah,
Anyone
yeah.
can
I
go.
think absolutely he is. I think already, it's already been huge. Like, the amount of momentum since the first, 3 days, the amount of things that have been done already have massively shifted the structure of at least the executive branch. And soon, I think it's going to reach into the private sector and into the international geopolitical scale.
Okay. Do you have any contentions for that, Z, or do you agree?
No, I mean I agree, and even the positions that people on our side of politics don't agree with, he's kind of like there's an internal debate going on. Like right now, I know we're anti-J here, but Stephen Miller, who is a J, has been fighting vehemently against the H-1B visas. There's been reports coming out that he's literally got into yelling matches with people. Vivek Ramaswamy has been completely removed from the Trump team over the H-1B stuff. So, it's a responsive administration, and it's not an administration that, even though they do have ties to rich people, they aren't bought and paid for. They listen to the American people. I don't think you can really ask for any more. I had a bit of pessimism, but then when I saw him coming out just signing executive orders like a machine gun, my faith was restored. And then I saw today the JFK document, the RFK document, the MLK documents are all out. I literally am struggling to think of one promise he hasn't even kept already. So long as he keeps the economy on an even keel and keeps it growing steadily, which he's doing. And I watched him do the World Economic Forum today, and it was monumental. I mean, he basically told them to their faces that it was going to be shut down, that all the things that they've been working for are null and void, at least in America. And then he answered questions against the EU, which the EU is controlled by people in the WEF. So, like, I don't think you can really ask for any more in what is this, the fourth day now?
I mean, just to be clear, he did fail to deliver on one promise, and like only one that I can think of right now. He did make the claim very explicitly that the war in Ukraine and Russia was going to end by the time he takes office, which again is infeasible, and I already understood that when he said it. But he should have been more careful about making that claim because he wasn't able to deliver.
Yeah, but he also he's been constantly mentioning it every day since it's been inaugurated, and it's quite clear that he's pushing the peace deal. So he is an exaggerator, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it in the first 100 days. And if we're more than 100 days out and we don't have at least a ceasefire, I don't think. I think that'll be the first failure of the administration, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Damn, we agree. It's not very blood sportsy. I'm gonna jump around these questions a little bit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Palestine or Israel? Honestly, is that even a contention on the panel right now?
Israel all the way, 100% Israel.
Really?
You disagree?
No. I'm not here to disagree. I'm here to be a moderator, right? I'm not here to give my opinion.
Yeah,
today.
no, I think our friend here wants some beachfront property on the West Bank.
Yeah, no. If I had the blood title, then maybe I would. Okay, but sadly, I'm not of a certain persuasion. But the reason why I'm pro-Israel, just to be clear, is I believe Israel is our foothold in spreading our neoliberal democracy in the Middle East and to change Muslim culture permanently in the long term, and to ensure foreign relations within the Middle East are favorable to our economic model. I think that's the only reason it ever had to exist, and we should be actively continuing to keep that foothold, or else it will be overtaken by Russia.
Can I ask a question about broader like relations with Israel? What's your opinion on the fate of Iran? Would you like to see the monarchy return, the Pahlavi monarchy?
I mean, I don't think a monarchy is a bad thing in this case because so long as I don't even really know about the Pahlavi monarchy as much as you probably do, but I would like it to be a loyalist monarchy to the West at the very bare minimum.
Yeah, so the Shah of Iran, who Jimmy Carter failed to protect when he took over after Ford, he was a Western, but he was a sovereign, a leader, but he was a Western-friendly leader. That was until we abandoned him, and his son and the rest of his relatives they've had shelter in Europe and the rest of the West. So they're the most pro-Western regime because my thing is I'm fine with having pro-Western people over there, or people that are just for their own people in general, like Saddam Hussein. But my thing is when you have this quote unquote spreading of neoliberal values, I don't think that neoliberalism is even good in the Western context, personally. So I wouldn't want to spread that to the Arab people because I don't view it as a good form of government. I actually prefer more so having a sovereign and a democratically elected system under it that you keep those people like in check. And when you go to these places that are war torn, they have terrorist groups, they have disorder, they're in third world conditions, and you tell them they need to take in a first world mentality, culture, mindset, and governance. I think that is, I think that's backwards, quite frankly. And I think that it's been proved to be wrong and false ever since the CIA was founded. And I don't think it's worked. I think it's been a big waste of time, money, and blood.
Okay, so what I would say to that is rules for thee, not for me. I don't support this model to be propagated and proliferated in the West because in the West, it does not serve its primary purpose. Its purpose is to pacifies cultures that are inferior to Western cultures. In the case of the Middle East, in the case of other like Eastern powers that dislike us, the way in which we dominated South Korea, the way in which we attempted to dominate Vietnam, and we dominated like British Mandate Palestine and Israel. Okay, this was all through the spread of the John Locke-esque conception of natural rights. Even if they don't actually exist, neither do I agree with them. It is a useful tool to destroy certain religions and cultures. And I think you can acknowledge that. I think it's worked very well in certain contexts.
You know, it's funny. The reasons that you're touting it are the reasons I don't like it. I quite frankly, I just find it to be disgusting. It's a form of neo-colonialism, in my opinion, and I believe in nationalism, even if it sprouts forms of government that I don't necessarily support. Even like Hugo Chavez version, like lefty nationalism. Even though Venezuela has turned into a shithole, I do still support that train of thought. You know, like the Gaddafi form of nationalism, and I'm a nationalist at heart. So when I first got into politics, my entire reason for getting like even reading and getting interested, opposition to this order that you are pressing for. And I don't know. I'm just curious, what makes you supportive of that order? What is alluring about that?
The only thing that's alluring about it is control over our enemies and the creation of allies out of enemies. I don't support the independence of my enemies because that allows them to economically align with bigger enemies.
Okay, so in this context, there's no neutral ground. It's either you're for us or against us. You're kind of W. Bush in the situation.
Well, it's about control. If they're neither for us or against us, then there is a chance, a higher chance, that they will be against us in the future than if we took control over them using neoliberal spread of democracy. I think this is a model that has worked very well. I don't see any reason to hate it in the international context, only within the domestic. And I mean, in the domestic, I 100% agree.
But don't you think that the United States, though, they use that model already for installing their puppet regime, in Ukraine and in Middle Eastern countries?
Oh, he found my.
Yeah, that's the intention.
So would you call Ukraine a general success?
I would call Ukraine a success. Yeah, we're draining the lifeblood out of Russia, and we.
But what does that have to do with a monarch?
I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with a monarch.
But you said you're pro-monarch. Why are you pro-monarch?
Well, it doesn't matter what form of government that exists in a certain area, so long as it's loyalist to the West. And a monarch in Iran would, if it was the previous one that he was referencing, be loyalist to the West.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so you're taking.
I just thought you're maybe you're pro, like you want to bring back something like the English crown or the English empire or something, which was monarchical, which is basically.
Oh, you go ahead.
The most successful monarch, I guess, known to man, is the English Empire. It is dying out, and there is reasons why people revolt against the monarch, especially when it comes to a lack of representation of their own interests, of the people's interest, I guess you could say, over what we would call the crown. Are you familiar with the term crown?
Yeah, the crown is would be the. I mean, at least from what I understood, from whatever I learned about it, it would be the organization or the regime that heads the keys to power. In the case of a monarchy, it would be like, say, it could be used to be synonymous with the king and the church.
Yeah, it's basically like it's kind of complicated, like when you have a constitutional monarchy, but basically it is agents who are acting on behalf of His Majesty or Her Majesty. But they don't actually have total control of the land. If I want to get into legal arguments, that this has been talked about a lot. But yeah, that's basically the basic premise, is that in a monarch, in any type of monarch system, even a constitutional monarch, whatever that means, the government represents the interests of Her Majesty. It doesn't represent the interest of the people. The people have a say who they're representatives of, but their representatives have to respond to the monarch.
Yeah, I understand, but
Yeah.
I guess the goal is to force the entire nation to submit to the will of the West. And if there is a monarch that has complete control and a monopoly over violence in the location, then that would be a lot more efficient than say propping up something that allows for the freedom of decision independent of the West. I mean, I would say even more efficient than a monarchy would probably be a puppet state governed by cultural immigrants.
Yeah, but that's what England basically did. That's how they were so effective. But now, look how long that lasted, right? Like it lasts to a certain point, and then people eventually revolt and kick you out eventually, anyway.
And as well, I want to add on.
So
to that,
you have to
we've
be
seen-
persuasive, right? You can't just say I'm going to be a tyrant and you're going to listen to what I say because I have guns. That only lasts for so long,
and look,
and people eventually build up resistance.
you can
Like
look
in
at what's
India,
happening.
like England used to have a whole stronghold in India. Now India's now there's no really influence of English monarchs there anymore. So it's just it's almost like you have to give them. You know, the saying is like you have to give the people the illusion of freedom for them to be willing slaves.
Yeah, I understand. That's why we transitioned into the creation of puppet democracy in the Middle East. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, but I
So that's probably why America is more effective, is because it gives them the illusion of choice, right? So it gaslights their own people. I guess if you want like total control, I'm not saying I'm advocating for anything like that. I'm just saying for the thought experiment, if you want something that's like total control and you want you have to control people's mind or the public opinion, I guess you could say, ultimately what it is, you have to give people I guess you could say the freedom of choice, but it's not really a freedom of choice. It's just a different side of the coin, right?
I would say it has to do a lot with timing and use case, because there are specific locations in the world that if the West wanted to seize control, they would probably start with a monarchy and over time topple that monarchy through their own foreign influence. I think that's why Iran probably had its monarchy toppled. I don't know if it was because of the East. Like, what exactly happened? Z, you probably know more about it than I do.
Oh well, what happened was the government was inconsistent with who they were supporting. Some people were supporting the Shah, and the intelligence agencies were supporting the mullah. And then there was an uprising, I think in '78 or '9, and the Shah abandoned because he had cancer, and so he abandoned ship and fled to America. And Iran became Islamic, and since then Iran's been ruled in an Islamic state. But what I was going to add on to the point from John is that people have been fed up with America ever since the Bush presidency, and they've been fucking us in trade deals and in foreign relations because of the expansionist neoliberal policies here. And as well, the luster and respect for America in the international scene has been bloodied and covered in foreign incidents and mistakes like Vietnam and Iraq. So I think that, quite frankly, this has been tried for 50 plus years. It's bankrupted us morally, spiritually, physically, fiscally, in every realm. I think it needs to be abandoned. If we want to truly be the leaders of the world, we need to lead from our pulpit and quit going into other people's countries and fucking with them. It doesn't even do anything for us but hurt us. It hasn't provided anything for us.
No, there's no way.
Well, to be fair, they had Israeli false intel leading into, I guess maybe you're alluding to the Middle Eastern wars,
Right.
post 9/11, with weapons of mass destruction.
Establishment so deeply tied into exactly what he's talking about here, having Israel as a foothold in the Mideast to spread these policies. That's why Israel is so broadly hated. It's actually the number one source of, like if you want to get into anti-Semitism, That's the number one source of anti-Semitism right there. Is this shit here, this Zionist puppet state? You could call it a puppet state, but it goes both ways because they influence us so much. But the Zionist politics are controlled by outside foreign finance. So it's very much so. There's faces and there's fronts, and I just think that naturally we need to be focused on our own stuff. Like Trump said, this Israel.
Wait. Are you saying it's anti-Semitism that it was Israeli intelligence?
No,
that was false.
That's established fact. That's established fact. I'm saying that the number one case, like I'm saying, like if you're looking at it from a Jewish position, right? The number one case of existential threat would be from the Muslims, and the Muslims are so pissed off because of this role with America ever since their founding. So it's a two-way street. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's anti-Semitic to call out Israel.
Oh,
That would be obnoxious.
Okay, but I would say that that saying that the alternate model to monopolizing power is to just give power to your enemies entirely and be independent is a very foolish statement. I think it's only going to diminish our status geopolitically.
Right, but what got states like Korea, Singapore, dozens of other different states to be on the American side was the sovereignty and the expansion that we brought them economically. The reason why "quote unquote" free trade was so popular was that it provided more. It didn't provide control from other people or other countries. It provided your own sense of economic growth and ability, which we now know eventually transitioned into multinational companies taking the power instead of the states anyway. But if you want to expand American power, you can do it much more so with the carrot instead of the stick. This idea of dropping bombs on people because they don't agree with our political and our world philosophy, because they don't want to have transgender story time in Beirut. It just doesn't make sense to me, because I don't view my culture to necessarily be the culture that everybody in the world should live under, because that's more like a Tower of Babel kind of mentality. I believe God appointed that. But I'm a Christian.
Well, that's just like what they did to Libya. They destabilized Libya with Gaddafi, and look what that caused. That caused a mass immigration into Europe.
Yeah, and
right. Because
today
but I think what it is though is because we're not really addressing the elephant in the room here. It's the United Nations and the EU that have been behind these policies as well, directing with America as the military force to enact these destabilizing campaigns on Muslim countries who don't submit to their system. It ultimately goes down to central banks want total control, total enslavement of all humanity, right? You have that faction, and you have another faction that's more nationalist and more pro-independence, right?
Yeah, but it boils down to globalist versus patriots, and I'm sure anybody that's aware knows who's basically who in those factions. And you have basically this mindset that has been explained to us here by our good friend Pistol Partners. It has been the dominant mindset. This has been the mindset that has been preached for, ever since our grandparents were getting into this type of thing. But it's played out. And you can't just bull rush everybody and expect them to bow down. It's just not. It's not how it works out. There's always going to be a bigger and a badder force. You're not going to tell China with 1.3 billion Han Chinese to bow down to you. It's just not going to work. And if you're not kind to these partners, they're going to go to China anyway. So if you keep fucking with people, they're going to go to China. That's why Africa is going to China right now. It's because we fucked Africa so much that now they're going on the Belt and Road Initiative. So you actually have to be a better partner. That's the only way to win, is to be a better partner. And Trump's doing that in spades.
I haven't seen any evidence that China is being a better partner. In fact, they're debt trapping African countries and using them for their platinum group metals, and like mining resources using their domestic factories and domestic laborers. This is This is not beneficial to Africa. The only reason why they're forced into doing it is because they see a lucrative deal, and they don't have the long-term object permanence to judge this as a poor decision. They don't learn from the previous examples of it happening.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that China's a better partner in the sense that I personally haven't heard, and obviously I'm not an intelligence official myself. I haven't heard of China cooing any African government to coincide with their trade policy.
Yeah, that's not what they do.
But the Americans will do that. So
yeah.
The Americans will do that. They'll fuck up your election. They'll kill you. They'll kill your family. Like we've been a very bad partner for a very long time.
Let's be honest, most of Africa is in a civil war anyway with each other and warring factions. And the only reason why there's those countries in Africa right now is because of colonial boundaries that have been set for them. They have nothing to do with
tribal history,
ethnic differences.
And also, we should be actively opposing the industrialization, the freeing of African laborers, because when you industrialize Africa, you're creating a massive carbon footprint. You know, the cars that they're going to be buying, the cheaper like mass stock of cars that are being sold to them by the Chinese are fossil fuel vehicles. I think it's an incredibly negative thing. I think that we should keep them unindustrialized, and we should use them for their precious metals and not give them anything else.
Listen, I don't think anybody here wants India 2.0, but are you one of these globalists that wants the world to deindustrialize to save the cloud?
I want Africa to not industrialize. I think that would be negative if it did.
Right, but the reasons that you stated, like carbon,
is because of carbon. Yeah.
The reasons I don't want Africa to industrialize is because I don't want to have India 2.0 hurting my labor market and all these different things. It's hard enough dealing with Nigeria and Uganda, but basically, I don't see your point of view here, because it would seem to me that you are a neoliberal, B, you buy into climate change, and C, you're supportive of the old order. So that's just my
Okay, a couple of things. First, I do buy into climate change. Second, I'm not a neoliberal. I only support the utilization of neoliberalism internationally. And third, I absolutely and completely do want to use the old order to my advantage and change it to fit the whims of the West in a way that's beneficial towards the health and prosperity of Westerners. And four, it's not only the carbon footprint. There's also zinc and platinum group metals that are being actively expended. And if we allow Africa to industrialize, the medical technology that they're going to require to keep their populations healthy is going to expend all of the zinc. There's going to be no zinc left.
Hey, what happened to Florida? Florida was supposed to be underwater like 10 years ago. What happened to that?
That has nothing to do with this.
What climate change model do you have that's actually credible, that actually can link a carbon footprint to the changes in the weather? No, it was supposed to be global warming. And now it's climate change. You see how they did this? Like, your narrative in itself is disingenuous.
I mean, we can go into each individual source later, and I don't want to make this into an entire climate change debate.
No, what you're spewing is propaganda.
How do you know?
Because there is no evidence that the carbon footprint actually changes the climate.
If we want to go into a climate change debate, I'm okay with that.
No, man, he's using it as a talking point. He used it as like he's trying to say that the pollution changes the weather or changes the climate. Sorry. And he's kind of using this like NPR monotone voice and just kind of brushing over just parts that he can't really articulate very well, trying to sound smart. You know those NPR types, right?
Blood for the
you got to call them out.
Let's go.
I mean,
you got to call them out.
You're not really calling me.
You got to bring in the energy.
I mean, if you don't even know like how greenhouse gas emissions work, then maybe you should have.
I don't even know how greenhouse gas.
Like high school.
I'm valedictorian, guys. High school. You know what we were taught in high school? That Florida be underwater 10 years ago. What happened to that? What happened to melting the ice cap and the ocean rising? Did that
Well, you
work?
might as well.
No,
you might
you
as well
have
be a
no
flat
cause and
earther.
effect. You have no cause and effect for that theory. That's why no one believes it, because there's no quantifiable scientific proof that the carbon footprint actually changes the climate. It has more to do with the sun and the polar shifts. It has nothing to
much
do with carbon.
Jewish space lasers.
Can you prove what you're saying as to the cause and effect of the rising temperatures on the planet? Do you have that on hand?
There is no rise in temperatures. That's why they had to change it to climate change. Because it was cooling, and then it was warming, and then when there's a hot day in summer, then we got to put the map in red. It just basically imprints into your subconscious that we still believe in climate change, but there is no articulable thing. It's the same thing. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on YouTube now, so I can't even talk about the C word on YouTube. But the same thing with this, it's the same damn thing with the C word, if you know what I'm talking about, right?
Well, no, the temperatures have been rising.
It's you got to get this V, or it'll stop the spread of transmission. And then, it's still spreading spreading transmission. Oh, people are getting sick from the V, and it's just there's no quantifiable, there's no scientific article that proves that the V stops transmission of the C, if you know what I'm saying. The fact that I even have to use code words on here just shows how false the narrative is. So what you're spewing is false, and I'm not even going to entertain that. I'm not even going to entertain that. It's not even a talking point. That's not even an argument.
I don't know.
Climate change is not even an argument.
If you don't want to engage with the evidence that I just fucking posted, then you're just
what
fucking
evidence?
Yeah, okay. It says it right here. Okay, let me go back. It says the combined land and ocean temperature has increased at an average rate of 0.11 Fahrenheit per decade since 1850. Okay, and the rate of warming since
1850.
Wait, and the rate of warming since 1982 is more than 3 times as fast, 0.36 Fahrenheit per decade. Okay, that has tripled just since 1982 in terms of its rates of increase.
Okay, so why was it since 1850? We weren't industrialized before in 1850. So what does 1850 have to do with industrialization?
Well, the 1850 figure is just the time in which we were actually recording it. If we're talking about like 1982, that's when the rate had an actual sustainable increase that we can record.
Well, what do you say about the plateau from 1998 to 2012 when we had a massive increase in industry at the same time? If you look
Could you substantiate that?
Yeah, sure. Let me pull it up. But if you look at the same graph that you were talking about, that was from the 80s. If you look at it from 98 to 2012, it plateaus at the same time as we're rising in our industry, and it's I'm trying to find it. I don't know. I think that, quite frankly, it's one of
given the source that 97% of scientists say that they believe in climate change or global warming. It was originally global warming, but they're all funded by UN agencies to do these research.
I believe
right?
cooling more than I believe warming. Actually, there's snow in the south.
Well, it was the ice age in the 70s, and then they changed it to global warming, and now it's climate change.
Cooling are a lot more verifiable, in my opinion, than heating. I've seen a lot on cooling, and if you look at the science, there's been a lot of ice ages, and the temperatures they fluctuate by the centuries and by the eons. And so I think that it's when you look at CO2, we have like CO2 as this boogeyman, but CO2 produces growth. And I think that, quite frankly, if we're going to have a warmer climate, I think humans can adapt to a slightly warmer climate. The only problem that it really comes into is how do we adapt, and how do we create more energy, like through things like nuclear and thermal, without increasing these gases. So I'm not saying the gases are a non-problem or a non-sequitur. I'm saying that I think that it's been elevated to this boogeyman, when really it's that we need to solve. Like, we need to solve this problem by the time we're Trump's age. You know what I mean?
The big problem.
This has to be solved in our century. But
No,
it's
the
not
big
something
problem
that's
is
going
the
to
shift in.
sink Florida underwater by the time our grandkids are playing on the playground. I just don't. There's a happy middle here.
What you need to acknowledge here is that there's going to be a shift over time in the hardiness zones at which you could grow specific crops and raise specific animals. Okay, that's going to impact our productivity massively if it keeps going at the rate in which it is. Okay, and I think it's desirable to reverse it.
But how do you
How do
reverse
you?
it? I mean,
Is there any
the
proof that you
deserts
can
like,
actually reverse it?
Well, I mean,
look at the,
I mean, I don't even know if you could reverse it, but you could mitigate it at the very bare minimum.
I mean, there's so many different, like if you read the Bible, there's a lot of different places in the Bible that were at the time that the Bible was written, fertile land with waters and a bunch of different things that no longer exist. That's desert now. These things transition and they change. One of the reasons I feel blessed as an American is that Americans have every climate and we can adapt to that more so than any other country. Now that would be devastating for a smaller nation or a nation that relies on a climate in order for its economy. But in California alone, we have desert, forest, beach, and snow. And we are so blessed in this country. I don't think that needs to be a concern. Maybe it's more so of a concern for the Europeans. But even the Europeans have enough natural resources and digital resources that they could sustain. And the way it's been framed since I was a little kid, that this is some kind of existential threat, that it's like the movie Armageddon. There's a meteor hurling to Earth, and this meteor is Al Gore's climate change, and you need to take this so serious and this and that, and they'd sit us down and show us that big long boring documentary, literally giving us points in class for watching a climate change documentary. It went by Al Gore, I forget the fucking name, and it's like it's happening, but it's not happening to the point that it's going to submerge California and Florida, and there's going to be beachfront property in Arizona. It's just not happening like that.
All it is, all that climate change data is basically, it's like saying, people eat more ice creams during shark attacks, right? Like there's a correlation, but there's no causation. It's like, yeah, the climate's changing, but does that have to do with human activity? There's really no quantifiable proof that you could say yes. It's just kind of hearsay, right? And look at China. China doesn't even care. China knows it's full of shit, right? We're the only ones that actually peddle this propaganda, this kind of default propaganda of carbon.
Plants a year.
Well, I mean, on that,
literally creating more coal as we speak, and
yeah.
we're over here.
I know China is a much bigger issue. Like China and India are the biggest players on the planet, and I just wanted to temporarily pivot. Okay, we can go back to this later if I even have time to, because I'm going to have to go in like 20 minutes because my friend and I are about to go out. I told Bunkin ahead of time, but I just posted another thing that's really interesting about this. You know what I said about the hardiness zones? That this doesn't only apply to domesticated animals. Massive amounts of animal populations have been wiped off the face of the planet, either through human predation events or through shifts in climate or pollution, microplastics, etc. And 60% of all animal populations on the planet have been, or since 1970, have been killed. Like, is that not like is that not a flabbergasting figure?
It's kind of interesting that, in Mexico they still have plastic straws, but in Canada they actually mandated paper straws. So I don't know if this guy's from Canada, but I think he would love living in Canada because everything is basically tailored towards creating less plastic and more paper. I think the garbage, like the island of garbage, the plastic or whatever. I think animals do adapt to their environment. They're a lot more adaptable than we like to think. We like to think that we are responsible for everything. We have to solve everything, but animals are really adaptive to changes in their environment. And also they kill each other all the time, like in the ocean too. There's lots of predator and prey relationships in the ocean as well. So we can't stop that, but we're going to try to stop something that may or may not cause more animal death. that we can't
that
really
adaptive
quantify.
effect, what you're talking about, that adaptive effect to like a harsh environment, that happens over hundreds or even thousands of generations. That doesn't happen over the course of like 10 generations. And if this is an extreme enough effect to wipe out 60% of animal populations since
Well, that
1970,
you also have fishing too, right? Like a lot of fishing. People
yeah,
fish. Yeah.
absolutely. That's still not good, because that's
Yeah.
going to wind up causing problems with the food chain in certain ecosystems, and it may wind up eradicating a huge amount of ecosystems. That's what happened that's what's actively happening to a lot of coral reefs right now. They're being outright eradicated due to a lack of steady food supply in certain locations, because the food that they consume is either overpopulating or underpopulating, and therefore going extinct in the location because of it.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we should be
Are those
stewards of the
numbers-
planet, but at the same time, like, we just can't control everything, right? Like, I think there is a responsible way that we can be stewards of the planet, but at the same time, don't use it to coerce people. Because when you coerce people, I feel like the left does this, and it just basically shoots people way the other side. So now you have people wanting to have, bringing back plastic straws, like kind of being contrarian, but serious at the same time, right? So then we lose the frame, right? So you lose the frame of looking after the environment. So now people are wanting to, consume even more resources and pollute even more, and not really have any environmental consciousness. I just think like the whole global warming thing is kind of they tried to coerce people with fear, and now that's backfired. And so now you're seeing this kind of backlash of resource development. But I think at the same time, like, you can have coal, like coal can be clean. Nuclear is a good energy option. What was that other one? Geothermal is another one too. Like, I'm not against like alternative energy, and certainly definitely like I'm for like, cheaper forms of energy. But I think also too, you can have cheaper forms of energy with fossil fuels as well. I don't even like using the term fossil fuels. I think that's a false term too.
That is a false
That's
term.
a propaganda
It's a
term as
psyop by
well.
the Rockefellers
Yeah.
to create
That was it in the 1950s. Yeah. It was derived from we only have a limited amount of oil in the ground because it all derived from bones from dinosaurs, which was not quantifiable. Again, here we go again with the propaganda from the mainstream science society. Yeah,
So,
society.
I think that quite frankly, I can agree on a certain principle of conservation and having enough for the next generation and not just using everything up. I certainly agree on that sort of principle.
Yeah.
And I obviously I don't want to leave a fallout hellscape for my my progeny, but at the same time, I don't want to hold my country and my region to a much higher standard than the international standard, to the detriment of my people.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. 100%. I 100% agree. And that's why we should completely inhibit the industrialization of Africa. We should be actively preventing them from gaining access to the factories, the materials to produce microplastics. They should not have that. They should not have fossil fuels. They should not have the ability to use them. They are going to only make the problem worse in many different axes. Therefore, that's my point, and I will die on that hill.
I mean, what are you saying? You're saying that they should stay in like a tribal, tribal mentality, tribal mindset. I don't think that you should.
We should all give him Elon's vehicles.
What about the Indians in Africa? I know how Africa can industrialize very quickly. They can just bring in all the
just
Indians,
like he did with Afghanistan. Just give them all the fanciest equipment.
Those Indians with their superpowers will fix Africa, and it will. Bro, could you imagine? Like an Indian?
Imagine Africans trying to use the gym equipment.
7,000
How the hell did?
tenants, and he's just using their children.
Yeah, we need to get back on track. We need to get
Wait, Bumpkin. How the hell did the communist room on the politics server get our fucking stream? How the hell did they get a hold of that?
Damn, are
Well,
they
I
here?
posted
Hello,
it.
commies. Hello, commies.
Oh.
I wish you a very nice death.
But they
Uh.
don't. None of them want to cam up, bro. I want the absolute like.
Let's get you redheads up here. Get these
Thunder.
fucking commies up here.
I want
Let's
the
have some
absolute
fun.
thunderfuck.
Yeah.
Collie, you want to join? Collie, come on up.
I want a Maoist. I want to talk to a Maoist. We're talking about
Wait,
China.
Golly,
Enough.
get up here.
I want to talk to a Marxist.
We're talking about China enough. We need to
Talk about dialectical materialism.
Brain. We need somebody that is sufficiently tankied out enough. You know, I think there's two routes you can take as a short man with boyish features on the internet. You can either become a femboy or a communist, and sometimes they become both.
It's pinned
And
at the
so-
top of the chat.
Like, there's this one guy. It's not just a little comic relief. There's this one guy at my college, and he was a communist hardcore for like 2 years, and then I showed up one day, and all of a sudden, I see him wearing a wig and a dress and fucking high socks, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on right now, man?" Man, good times. Sometimes when the internet bleeds into real life, like my parents, they're having a conversation, like it was literally like it was 4chan the other day, literally talking about like the Jews. It was great, man.
One
Shit.
second. I see this dude live streaming the stream in the Discord server. 1 second. Just keep the. I'm gonna pose a different topic real fast. Should
communists be killed on sight?
prostitution be legal within the United States?
Fuck
All right, go
no.
ahead, boys. All right, go ahead, boys.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with
Okay.
Pistol Partners. It shouldn't be illegal, because when it's illegal,
No, should it be
It-
legalized?
No, it shouldn't be legal. I think it shouldn't be legal, as in like we should ban it.
But
Legal.
my argument against that would be that when it's banned, like it is right now, you have people that are exploited by these illegal networks that don't give a fuck about law. They rape these women. They steal from these women. These women have no way out of their situation. And I think
Yeah, but-
that in the American spirit of things, they should have upward mobility too. And there's a certain subset, I would say a massive subset of women that if they could have that agency, they could, you know, create a life for themselves. Like I've ran into many different women. Well, I mean, they're women now, but they were girls when I knew them at first, and they went into sex work, and you know, it's nothing sadder than seeing somebody you know get pimped out. It's really, really a sad situation, and I think that the reason girls are so allured by OnlyFans is that you don't need a pimp to be on OnlyFans, and I think that's the way the culture's trending. Quite frankly, you know, I'm just calling the shots. I'm not making them, but you know, I'm not saying that's the way I want it to be. I'm a Christian personally. I wouldn't buy a prostitute. I would never buy sex because it doesn't line with me spiritually, and it wouldn't probably even be a good time. But that doesn't mean I don't think that it should be illegal. I don't think you should go to jail or even pay fines for it. You know, pussy's
Well,
pussy. It is what it
I
is.
would love to debate you on this, but I actually do have to go now. It is 7:21. I will perhaps continue this conversation with you later outside of the stage. Okay, I do find it interesting.
Sure. All right.
All right, I'll catch you guys in a few.
Peace.
The
Bye-bye.
commies do not want to play ball, apparently.
Later, Bumpkin. I gotta go.
Oh well, okay. Fuck.
Yeah, have a good one.
All right.
What about you, John? What's your position on prostitution?
I'm pro prostitution. Because if you have it legalized, you can also regulate it as well too.
Exactly.
And that would be more healthier for the population as opposed to this kind of anarchy of sleeping around and like STDs coming into the community and if you have prostitution though, be more legalized and they're more clean, more regulated as well too. So I think that would be a net benefit for society as opposed to a net negative.
And plus,
We look at Amsterdam too. Amsterdam, is that like a chaotic society? No, that's actually a pretty cool place to go. I want to go there one day, Amsterdam, experience the nightlife. Ha.
and the thing too is the money that you take from the taxes of the of sex workers, you could put to rehabilitation centers, towards mental health facilities, asylums, it could essentially become a system that pays for itself. because this will be perpetuated through society at all times. You go back to any society, there's prostitution and abuse of drugs, homelessness. Ever since drugs have existed and men and women have had societies, these problems have just persisted. And so when you look at these things with an understanding that you're not going to be able to fix them, then you have to really see, how can I fix the things I can fix using these never-ending systems, be it drug usage, be it alcohol, be it prostitution. That's my opinion.
I now I'm hearing commie voices in my head. It's like, of course, those incels want to have legalized prostitution. Read.
I don't, but I'm just moderating. I can't give my fucking opinion.
You know, I think you know that it would be less angry men. But are you guys familiar with What If Faithus or What If Falthus? I forget. Channel.
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah, he was like predicting like an incel like revolution.
Yeah,
like
that's the one video of his I actually watched where he talked about how right-wing incels would take over the world, and he wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
But then I watched that video where he came out and he was just fucking had a mental breakdown after getting one-shotted by some ayahuasca. You know.
Okay, what are we talking about?
We're talking about some other guy, but anyways, let's get back to the topic at hand.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, you guys both agree. So I'm really not gonna.
We're both sucking each other's dicks right now, so it's not really.
I'm really not going to entertain the pro-prostitution argument for much longer.
Why?
Okay, here we go. Do you agree with? No, you guys are gonna fucking agree with that one for sure. Should all drugs be legalized within the United States?
Not all. There's some drugs that you can't rehabilitate, like meth, the synthesized version of cocaine, crack, really fucked up shit like crocodile, other forms of drugs that can literally eat your brain away with every usage. Like, one of the things that I saw that's really disgusting, and I think is quite frankly indicative of the hypocrisy, galaxy gas, a drug that I would keep banned if I was in control of drug policy in this country, because it eats your brain and it kills you. That is legal. There are kids literally sucking their brain up into a tube completely legally because it can be used on condiments and dressings. So, when I see that, and when I see alcohol on the streets, when I see opiate prescriptions by the hundreds of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people dying every year from fentanyl, why the fuck not? Why don't we cut our losses here? And I mean, it's such a deep culture. Every party I've ever been at since I turned about 18, there's been cocaine present. It's very, very, very present. Cocaine or ecstasy or a combination of both. And why should people be dying over this? Why should their lives be ended over this? Over a night of fun? Why should they have their brains oxygen cut off and saved barely by Narcan? They never recover. They never are as smart as they could be. They're always going to be a shell of themselves simply because of our hypocrisy here. I just see the war on drugs as an insidious, continual failure, and it's all because we don't want to have accountability of the human nature. It's more so a delusion away from reality towards what we want the world to be. When the only way that we can control that is in our immediate reality, using institutions like the church, using institutions like what New Frontier was, to try and better your society, one by one, to create that cultural force. That's why America was so good for so long, is that we had the freedom to not be Christian, but we chose to be because of the virtues of it. But at the same time, we have to minimize harm, and we have to protect people from themselves. And we've been failing in our duty of that for about 25 years straight. But that's my opinion.
So your stance was make it illegal?
Make cocaine ecstasy, marijuana, party drugs that can be used and not kill you, and can be fixed and purified, regulate those and give those to private companies.
Okay, legalize basically
Legalize those,
the
but don't
the
legalize all
the
of it. You're going to have to
the
keep a
core drugs.
regulatory framework for things that are actually harmful, like meth, galaxy gas. That should be taken off the streets already. Things that actually don't build. They're not productive. They don't have a good time. It's all about.
Well, the only reason why the government legalizes drugs to begin with is so that they can make a profit off of it. I don't think it really has
I'm just
anything
saying
to
they
do
should
with.
rip the fucking Band-Aid off already, while protecting the citizens from the things that actually need protection. Because when you are penalizing cocaine and ecstasy the same way you penalize meth, you stigmatize all of it together, and they're separate. Somebody I know that does meth is not going to be as anywhere near as good of a time as somebody that does the other two. And I've never done any of the three, but they can do them if they want. They can alter their body. They can alter their minds with degenerative or regenerative substances. It's not up to me. I'm just saying that it should be available the same way that alcohol is on the shelves of nearly every store in America.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it should be illegal just for the fact that the government uses it to profit off of people as a sin tax. I think people should live more cleaner lives and should be punished for such debauchery. I'm gonna just go the full Christ pill or whatever, full sober pill on this, and I think there really is no need for drugs. Really, we don't need drugs. We have herbs and medicines that we can heal ourselves. We don't need marijuana. We don't need cocaine. I think that derives from a sick society that we need cocaine to focus. I think, but I don't know. I'm an idealist, so what do I know?
Your response to that, Z?
We should get like a Muslim in here, like a black Muslim, like a black British Muslim. Man, I have some good
Black
arguments
British
with him.
Muslim. That's a nice little.
Yeah, he's like a liberal and he's like anti-white too, man. It just be. I hope I can find him, but I'll send him the link next time.
I expected more out of the cube, honestly.
Let's talk about British grape gangs.
We're going to be in agreement on that. I'm sure that there's some other divisive topic that we can disagree on. What's your political views, John?
What is my political views? I don't know, really. I think, I guess you could say I'm a socialist.
Socialist?
Yes.
Okay. So when you say socialist, do you mean a distributist, or do you mean you don't believe in any private property?
I used to be a Marxist, actually, and didn't believe in private property, but I guess I'm more of a distributist now.
Okay. I believe in the Huey Long program. I believe that something like that would be great for America. We got to spread the wealth. But at the same time, I do believe in the sovereignty of localized, personalized capitalism. I hate globalism. We already established that. But,
drill, baby, drill.
Yeah, drill, baby, drill.
All right, let's move. Let's move on. Should the U.S. ban birthright citizenship?
Yes.
Should the U.S. what?
Ban birthright citizenship.
Sure.
Okay, fucking A. All right. I feel like you guys are both going to agree on abortion.
Only for blacks.
Planned Parenthood was actually a eugenics program started by Margaret Thatcher. I'm trying to remember.
I have the
and Uncle Adolf got ideas off of her. They got ideas off of the American eugenicist movement. That's what it first started because they wanted to limit the black population.
Will Russia win the Ukraine offensive soon, or will Ukraine be able to hold out?
I think that it's going to be a ceasefire eventually, and so I mean, technically Ukraine will hold out, but the devastation's so deep, the East will probably be given to Putin.
Slava Ukraine. You guys are a bunch of Putin propagandists right now,
Okay.
and you're spouting. You guys are paid by Putin.
My only
And
interest in can I be completely honest? My only interest
why
in this
why would you
Ukraine-Russian
why
war-
would you why would you advocate for the surrender of Ukraine right now? You know, Russia's a dictatorship right now. They
Yeah,
just they
Ukraine's
did
kinda
they don't
dictatorship.
care about Ukraine. You think Ukraine's going to survive? Ukraine needs to fight this out. God damn it!
Yeah, I mean, they need to sacrifice the last white male in Ukraine until we can bring in the Indians. We can bring in the Indians, and then they can fight in Ukraine, and we can give Ukraine to the Indians. How does that sound?
Well, you know what happens next, though, right? If Russia gets Ukraine, they're going to go after Europe.
They could have the Russian-Ukrainian war in India, and it wouldn't empty a single village.
Yeah, in India.
Okay.
All right.
We're back to hiring Indians. What is going on?
I'm saying they need to hire Indians as mercenaries to
There's
go,
lots of them.
literally just take an entire city of Indians and just line them on the front line of the Ukraine-Russian war.
Slava
That's what they're doing
Ukraine.
with the Koreans.
Hey guys, the link is posted in the chat if anyone wants to pop up on the stream. We need some dissenting opinions up here, man.
We need to put all of Calcutta on a train.
And I will.
We need black liberal Muslims from Britain who are anti-white. That would be great.
God, I'm gonna kill myself. God, do it. Should the United
Man,
States
I
completely-
swear to God, like
To the United States, what, bum?
like I had a conversation, like I was on a stream with a black liberal Muslim once, and I was just saying, no, I'm a nationalist, and like I'm for my people. They're like, what do you mean you're for your people? And then he just said, like, then he eventually started calling me names, and oh man, it was awesome. But yeah, you could just tell he was obviously anti-white.
Did he call you nigger cell? Like,
He called you. He called me a rape. He called me the R word. He called me xenophobic.
R word retarded.
The other one.
How are you gonna drop the N word and then say the R word? Like, what are you doing, Z? Like, what
I
are
didn't
you
call him the N word.
No, Z did.
Oh.
Z dropped the N word and then said the R word. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Just go with it.
Yeah, just go with it. Yeah, please hit the link, everyone.
Play your role.
Can we
Play
get
your
some
role.
people up here with dissenting opinions?
Yeah. To you, what comes first, church or state?
Yeah, we need some like rabid, like really fundamentalists up here right now. Everyone's too rational. Everyone's too autistic.
To me, what comes first would be, well, the church leads the state, in my opinion, in many different ways. Because if you aren't charitable like the church, and like trying to like actually like help society, like anytime I find like the fucking like for example, if you have a fucked
What's
up
up,
church,
man? Welcome.
if you have a fucked up church, like look at the Episcopalian fucking preacher that was berating our good president and talking about how we need to be merciful on the transgender kids in our country. I mean, when the church falls that bad, it's a sign of the dissolution of society. And so I feel like
Why?
the
Hang on.
question of church and state
Why is there a
like
woman
balancing.
bishop there to begin with?
Right.
That's what you got to
So,
ask
like,
yourself.
If you don't put the church, if you're talking about my personal priorities, I would say like the church has to be in a good position for the state to be able to govern. Because if the church is on the fritz, like you see in the Episcopalian Church and many other different wings of Christianity, you're going to have
that's
a
what
very
happens when you
tough
let women in
society to
charge.
govern.
All right, we're gonna redo some questions now. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna go with the prostitution one again. Now that I know there's dissenting opinions on the fucking panel. All right.
You know.
Thank God.
Now you
I
know.
know
So
for
what
a
were the
fact.
more you know.
arguments for?
No, I'm gonna repeat. I'm gonna repeat the question. All right, and then we're gonna go. Okay. Should prostitution be legalized within the United States?
No.
No.
Who the fuck said yes?
Both of these guys said yes.
What the fuck is wrong with both of you? I don't even want to make a moral argument for it because that's just like the typical route people go. Fuck that. We're going to make an argument of, is this good for the nation? Is this good for our overall civilization?
Yes.
Society?
Yes.
No, it's not. It
Yes.
has no benefit to
Yes.
civilization. So tell me why is it good for civilization?
Okay, can I go first, John?
No. I
Sure.
want this retard to go first. Let retard one go first.
Peace and love.
There's no peace and love when I have people advocating for the same things we should be fighting against.
You have hatred in your heart, sir.
I have hatred for people who are disgusting. Yes, 100%.
You have to embrace your sexuality. You can't repress it.
I'm married. My sexuality is embraced in the bedroom a lot. Yes, it's great. It's a woman. So yeah, go ahead. Tell me why.
So okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, back on topic. Sorry, I wasn't gonna go into Freudian psychoanalytical. No, sorry. Okay. Whew. Focus. Okay. Yeah. So basically, my argument is that if you have legalized prostitution, you have less chance of STDs within the nation or community. I guess local community, which would span out to the nation. And you also it'd be more legalized as well too. And so more regulated, and less chance of sexual misconduct in the greater society.
So all three are retarded. So first, let's break down the first.
No. You look at Amsterdam.
Hold on. I'm gonna look at. It's still retarded.
You're gonna go to Amsterdam. Me and you are going to Amsterdam. God damn it.
Anyway, let me continue what I was saying. We're talking about STDs, right? If whores are available for everyone, everyone can get a whore, and everyone's fucking this one whore in town, right? No, that's gonna lead to STDs because you know how STDs work, how you transmit between different people. It's a dumb argument right there. You allowing this within the nation is not going to be good. If you look at prostitutes or hear the stories of prostitutes or people who have pimped out, women, that's not a good thing to have in society. This is the same dumb argument people make for legalizing like hardcore drugs. We should do it because, people are going to do it anyway, and it's their choice. That's fucking retarded. If that's the case, then we should legalize zoophilia. We should legalize people who want to screw animals because, it's going to happen either way, and it's their choice. It's dumb. It's the same argument that more degenerates make each and every day. No, it is not good for the nation. It is not good for civilization. I don't even want to make the moral argument. We already know the moral argument is these things are bad. But in terms of the structure of our society,
According to who?
Hold on, the structure of our society.
You?
Yes, to me, yes, it's somewhat a part.
Oh, okay.
Yes, somewhat a part of the nation. What I don't want is to walk down the street.
I thought you were going to say God.
I don't want a bunch of no. Here's the thing. I'm not
Say God.
Argument out there.
Say God. Say it.
I'm not going to
Say
say
it.
God. Fag fuck.
Hold on, we're letting each other.
So anyway, like I
Okay,
was
sorry.
saying, that what matters more, it's not about God's in part of it. It's more about if the nation, the people within the nation, is it good to have a bunch of prostitutes on the street corner? If you look at prostitution, you look at all these women. A lot of these women have been groomed into this since they were at very young ages. We're looking at 12 years old. We're looking at 15, 16 years old. It's not a good thing. They carry that all the way into their 20s, into their 30s, and even more. We've seen an increase in the last 30 years of this upticking within Western countries, especially in the United States. This is not good socially. The mental stability of these people who are a part of this, terrible industry. And allowing this to be legalized is only going to cause more and more abuse. Like I said, it's on the same level. If you legalize, bestiality, allow people to screw animals. Well, it's their choice, and we should allow it because it's what they want to do. It's the same problem we're seeing with the transgender stuff. Well, it's their choice, and we should allow it because it's what they want to do. But is this good for the overall trajectory of our nation and civilization? No, it has no benefit. These things have no benefit. They don't produce more sound and mentally stable individuals. It produces very mentally unstable people. You have a bunch of prostitutes who are being pimped out, abused by women. You destroy the relationship that men and women have with society. You destroy that social trust between men and women. You're completely abolishing that by allowing this even more. So then the moral argument would be is, of course, living in a Christian nation, living in the Western world where Christianity is, prevalent all throughout society, right? We live in a Christian nation. We live in a Christian civilization. We know that morally allowing for women to be abused. We know that allowing young women to be abused is not a good thing. It's not something that we want on our conscience. It's not something that God would be pleased with. It's not something that anyone would be pleased with. So you can go either way with this. That at the end of the day, prostitution does not benefit the nation. Morally, does not benefit us as Christians. And it's not going to produce anything of value within society. So,
isn't prostitution like part of the Old West cowboy story though? That was part of the, like, you know, you went to a saloon and you could get a prostitute for the night after a hard day's work, or shooting some, you know, it's Americana. Prostitution is Americana, and you are denying Americana, sir.
It's retarded. Yeah, we've moved on.
No, it's not retarded.
It's
it's factual.
It's extremely retarded. No, to say, well,
no, it's not retarded.
I used to be able to go and walk into the saloon and pick up a whore and, you know, pimp her out. Oh, remember the good old days?
That's trad. That's trad.
That's not trad. That's fucking.
Yes, it is.
And
right.
No, it's not degenerate.
It shows that our society.
You have a stick up your butt. That's what you have.
That fucking pushes garbage. Go ahead.
You're afraid of sexuality being expressed in a healthy way in a society. You know what happens when you repress your sexuality and you turn to violence?
What's good for the nation? What's good for the people of this nation? What's good for Western civilization?
You just want everyone to have a stick up their ass in public life and not be sexually liberated.
Let me ask you
this.
Would you go and pick up a prostitute? Would you go up and pick up and pimp out a prostitute? Would you do that yourself?
Yes.
Would you do it? You would do it. So you would go and be a pimp. You would not mind being a pimp. You would not take.
Makes good money.
It makes good money. So you're telling me, please speak into the microphone, state your full name. You would go out and be a pimp. You would pimp out women.
Yes. My name is John Vance, and I'm applying to be a pimp for the streets.
Make sure you guys.
Any hoes out there?
That's disgusting.
Right.
Like you.
You know, prostitution's actually legal in Canada.
I want to talk.
I don't care. Canada's a disgusting country that won't be a country, hopefully, in the next decade.
Yeah. Let's talk about the nation for a second. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
You have.
Oh, what? What? Hold on.
Andre, you talked about how you have these women that are being pimped out.
Hey, y'all, can you hear me?
Being abused.
Yeah.
They're being raped. How are you going to stop it unless if you have a regulatory body or a way to look at it, because those women are going to be like, you know, already hurt. This is already happening. It's to not offer any solutions, but to say that this solution is bad. A, I don't understand why it's bad, and B, what's the other solution to cut down on this abuse? Because especially with this open border situation, I've seen in California, there are women on the street, and you do see the cars circle the block, and this is happening every day.
You're Detroit
and
as
so
well. It's disgusting.
I'm thinking to myself, the only reason why I've always liked this idea is because that's how you stop it.
That's not how you stop it.
You
don't stop it by saying, let's have more prostitutes on the corner. That is the dumbest and most Jewish argument I've heard.
No, they couldn't be in the corner. They would have to be in their own
ever in the history of non-Judaism.
They would be separate. It would be in public.
It's disgusting. No, it's not.
It would not be in public.
Here's how you solve the problem. Zach, this is how you solve the problem. We have to go back to square one, right? We have to go back to the schools. Right? I feel like sexual education in the United States is so fucking poor and so shitty. This is why we're having the problem today with men who can't get women who are extremely, selling their bodies and whoring themselves out, because we've not educated on what are the fundamental roles of a man and woman in society. What is it you should be looking for within society? Look at the Black community. I mean, the pimping and the whore culture is, at 1,000. Why? Because in the household, I don't even say, well, there's no fathers in the household. It's not because of the young boys. It's simply because the young girls have nothing of order, of power, of might, of, a good man to look at as an example. This is what I want to bring home, and this is what I want to have. I want to have a good, strong relationship like my mother and father. I want to have a good man in my life like my father and greater than my father, right? The reason why we talk about having men and women in the household for the family is not because, well, the boys need the men and the women need the girls. No, it's about the men need to be there for the young girls to show them what excellence is, what a good man is. And the women are there to show the young boys of what a good woman is. So this idea is like, oh, well, we need more prostitution, and that's going to be good. No, what we need to do is go back to the drawing board and say we need to talk about sexual education, the understanding the fundamental roles of men and women in society, reorganizing that, and then double down on getting these prostitutes and these pimps out. I want to rehabilitate these women. I want to rehabilitate these people. The pimps, no, these guys are criminals. I think they should do hard time. I think the penalty should be strict on these men. And for those who are going into, they're going out looking for prostitutes, I don't think they should be.
I'm going to be the biggest pimp you ever know.
No. I don't even think that they should be.
I'm going to go to your neighborhood. I'm going to pimp out all your ladies on the street.
And I hope that you get put on a list. And then when, hypothetically, when
you can't stop me.
Super based, you're on a wall. You're up against a wall. And there's been several people.
What work have you done? What work have you done to actually stop this?
What work have I done in my community trying to help out?
Yeah. Have you actually gone into the street and you actually shame people? I think you're just putting on an act right now.
Fucking potato.
I do shame people.
I think he's putting.
It doesn't even fucking matter. Like
Can you hear me?
Your entire people don't even exist. You're upper North Dakota. No one cares.
Hello.
Yeah, you hear your parents.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, it was just John. Why do you look like a fucking potato?
He does. He looks like a fucking thumb.
I look like I'm looking at a fucking Idaho potato right now.
What's wrong with Idaho potatoes?
You just look like
potatoes don't get your hoe, bro.
But
here's the thing: that if you're an Idaho potato, that means you have no fucking brain. But as we can already see from this conversation, that you have no thought and no brain. But like I was saying,
anyways, Andre, you said one thing I want to respond.
Go ahead.
Just because you disagree with me,
John,
doesn't mean I'm wise beyond your years, my man. I'm very wise. I understand human sexuality.
Shut the fuck up, you John, maple leaf motherfucker.
John, how old are you?
I am 33 years old, my man.
Holy fucking shit! Lost cause. All right, we're done talking with you. Go ahead, Zach.
Anyways,
I can't.
I agree with
what about the church and the pedophiles in the church? Yeah, how about that? Should I talk about that for a sec?
Okay, we're going. Okay, there has to be some level of order to this. All right.
All right.
Zach wants to respond to something Andre said. All right.
Go ahead, Zach.
Okay. You said that, and something that I agree with greatly, is that we need an entire new infrastructure for rehabilitation and education, both young and old, and getting people back into society when they do fall out and they get into these positions. But my thing is when you have a society that's already running at a loss, the areas that are most afflicted are the areas that are poorest already. How do you get the money and the restructure and the infrastructure and the resources to actually build these mental facilities, these asylums, these rehabilitation centers? If you don't legalize it and tax it,
if you say fucking prison labor, I swear I'm gonna fucking. I got my gun on my hip. Blow my brains out on.
We're not talking about prison labor today. That's a different discussion. I'm saying the only way that I find that you can get the money to do this and have the actual care that you need for them is to use the tax money that comes from their activities, these illicit activities, sexual activities, and use that tax money. And then you can also use the drug money that you would use the drug money that you collected.
No, what are you talking about?
And you would
what the fuck are you talking about?
Can I interject just one second? Because I'm in my car right now.
You're already running out of law.
You are wanting to regulate and tax one of the biggest slave operations in the fucking world. You are basically making a fucking argument to say that modern day slavery, which we have more than we ever had in the world, and a good fucking majority of them are sex slaves, which is very prevalent in prostitution with human trafficking. You are saying that we should regulate it, tax it, and allow it to happen. This is not how you run a society. If you want the money to fix
but they get paid though.
It doesn't matter if they get paid. They get paid right now, but it's
not sexual slavery. It's consent.
They're taking young girls. They're taking young girls and forcing them to do this. A lot of these prostitutes are on so many drugs. A lot of these prostitutes, and you don't say, because I know your fucking argument, Zach. I know your fucking argument. You don't say, well, you just regulate to it doesn't matter. It's an immoral fucking act. I don't care if you say, well, you shouldn't think it in a moral aspect. It is. Society cannot exist without the moral factor in our society that this is wrong. Prostitution is fucking wrong. There's a reason why it was outlawed because it made illegal, because it degenerizes women. It makes women look like shit. And there's even men in it. It's not just women. It's just not women. It's
That's
men
a power move right
well.
there. That's a power move for men to
And
be in
shut
it.
the fuck up, you Maple Leaf motherfucker. The thing is that the fact that this even has to be a fucking
You don't
argument,
understand. You guys are so like you don't understand sexual psychology whatsoever. Okay?
I don't care about sexual psychology. The
Yes,
fact
you
that we
should
have,
care.
the fact that we
You're
as
trying
a
to make an argument
society
against
have
prostitution.
become
Yes, you
so
should care.
boomer brain shit. It's just a sign that our society is collapsing as a
No.
whole because we have
Based.
entire like if you as an adult male, it's all male in this thing. As an adult male, are so obsessed, so fixated on just having sex. You're a fucking bitch, and you have no higher self-being. You have no
The act of
thumos, as the Greeks
sexual
would say.
intercourse is such a can be such a spiritual experience, connecting
It's-
oneself with one's soul.
Shut the fuck up.
And
Okay, hold on.
and
hold
you
on,
guys
hold
want to
on.
limit
We have
this.
a-
You guys want to limit
You wanna
this
connect with a
activity in a very responsible manner.
We
be
have
back.
a question.
You guys are the problem.
We have a question from the chat. All right, Panfuza, I'll see you when you're back, okay?
Yeah.
Ask John what he thinks the age of consent should be. Go ahead, John.
Something fucking disgusting.
Oh, well, I guess I'd say 16.
No, bro. No.
My man's full on Italian over here.
No, my man's full on needs to be up against a wall. All right.
You know,
We
the
should
Italian age of consent's
make
like 14,
age
right?
gap relationships great again. We should encourage, as nationalists, we should encourage more 50-year-olds to
You
date
did not
20-year-olds.
speak for nationalists, my
That
friend. John,
would be a really
you are
base nationalist
singular
move.
people.
But you guys get freaked out by a 19-year-old dating a 17-year-old, which is why we can't get our birth rates up. God damn it.
Now, the reason why we can't get our birth
Bring
rate
back
is because-
age gap
Hold on.
relationships now.
Fuck up for 2 seconds. The reason why we can't get our
They
birth
already
rates up is
exist
because
at a
we
high
have two
clip, John.
generations.
Fuck.
One generation of millennials have been told not to have children because they should feel guilty or they should feel some stupid shit they've been told. And then we have a generation now, Gen Z, they can't afford to have children because boomers, Gen X, and millennials have fucked up society to where we can't afford it. So now we have to deal with that consequence of why birth rates are so low across Western countries, especially in the United States. So that's a dumb argument. No,
Not to
as
mention all the
nationalists-
shit that's in our food and the
Exactly.
birth control that's been sterilizing people.
Exactly. Yes, that's a big one. So when we go into, we should just allow the birth rates. We should lower the age of consent. The reason why the age of consent was low because the life expectancy was very low for a lot of people within these nations that they raised out of. That was it. It wasn't because it was based and super edgy and cool. Like we should do it. No,
It's a form of patriarchal expression.
30. So it made sense for why you would marry someone who's 15 because like you're not going to live that long. You're only going to live till 50, my guy. Now we have the life expectancy. I think we don't even look at race, but I think on average across Western countries they're like 78, maybe close to 80. Right? I think that's going to expand even further to maybe 100 for the next century, depending on how things go within society. I think that's a good thing. As technology.
So the average life expectancy in the United States has been decreasing. It has decreased by a year and a half for the last decade.
That's horrible.
It's
so
still relatively high compared to the rest of the world. It's like 78, but it used to be 83.
So hopefully we can get it back to the 83, if not higher, right? I want it to be higher. I want human life expectancy to go higher than it's ever been. I think it should do that every century. But we're not going to get that, if we have degenerates like John that like want prostitution or they want crack cocaine to be fucking legalized. And we're not going to get that because now we have a very dysfunctional society. I think even more dysfunctional than we already do now today. So Zach, go ahead. You said about we need to pay for these things. Well, we should tax. We're not going to tax these slaves. We're not going to tax the slave industry because we should do it because we can make money. We just want to make profit off these people. And since we live in a capitalist system, you're going to have some of the worst people to make billions, if not trillions of dollars off of it and make it even worse than what it is now. It's right to make it illegal. I think there should be some reform. I think there should be, if you're going out looking for pussy, I don't know. I think there should be a punishment because you're abusing and you're trying to use these people for your own personal gain. I think that's wrong. I think there should be a punishment for that. I don't think it should be extremely harsh. But if you're, a prostitute, I don't want to penalize you and put you in a slammer because of it. I think you should be rehabilitated. I think it should be forced rehabilitation. I think you should get some education from it of why these things are wrong, why it's not good. Have some self-respect. And I think those who are pimping out should receive the maximum penalty, maximum punishment. I'm not saying the death penalty, but something I'll say maybe 10 years for, trying to destroy the life of someone, pimping this person out, mentally destroying them, causing this kind of harm and havoc within society. And now you're spreading disease, which destroy the fertility of these women, of these men. You're spreading all these different things that are highly destructive. These people are drugged out. You're getting them hooked on drugs. You're using them. If not, the death penalty should be the maximum sentence, 15 years, if not life, depending on how the larger the operation, who's running the operation. I think that's something that needs to happen within Western countries. To make this argument, well, we should just tax it, is we're dealing with the same shit we're dealing today. You sound like a fucking capitalist. You sound like the same people we're fighting against. You sound like the same people and with the same garbage that are pushing the same garbage. When you look at OnlyFans, you look at Pornhub, look at all this stuff. They make money off of it. It's no different. And that is, if you go look and dive into that, the amount of slavery that goes on these websites, the amount of abuse that goes on these websites. No one says anything about it. No one wants to do anything about it. We have to do something about it if we want to have a more just and better society. So go ahead, Zach.
I just think that, in terms of more justice, I think that these women having more agency, the sex work being voluntary as opposed to coerced, like we've talked about, I believe that would be a better society.
Sex work is not voluntary.
But it can
be.
And there's people that are porn stars that like being porn stars. They
like being porn stars because they've been told. The only reason why they like being porn stars is because they make money from it. That's it. It's not that they like doing it. You go have conversations with some of these people. You can go look at some of the interviews these people that they like doing this. They do it because there's money in it, because there's an industry to make money from it. That's it. As long as there's money being made from it, they're going to do it because, well, it pays my bills. It's not because I like doing it. I enjoy doing it. It's more of it makes money for me. Some of these girls that do OnlyFans, they do it to get through college. They do it to make extra money on the table. Some of them do it to even feed their kids while they're working another job. I mean, this is the society we're living in, that we've completely destroyed the identity of women, the self-respect of women, even the self-respect of men. This is how much we've destroyed our society, that both men and women are at the lowest point that they've ever been within a civilization. Maybe we can look at other time periods and say it's probably been worse, but for the last century, I mean, it's at the lowest point it's ever been. It's disgusting. So
what if we banned Pornhub and OnlyFans and reinstituted whorehouses? Now get this.
Same thing.
That would be, you'd be more responsible for, like, instead of being behind a screen, behind an anonymous account giving out money, like, you have to, like, go there and actually have a face-to-face interaction.
Whorehouses. You ever look at historically how much abuse was going on in these whorehouses? You go back, 50 years, 100 years, wherever, these brothels. No, that's even worse. I would say that Pornhub and OnlyFans are a better form of the whorehouses, but still, it's not a good thing.
How is it a better form? It industrialized sexual slavery.
They started getting beat every day. They get beat twice a day. Okay, it's a lot better now. It's like, no, we're not doing that.
No, that's what the regulation comes into, because you can't beat your employees. And they'd be an employee like any other employee. They'd be regulated like any other employee. And if you do that shit, you lose your license and you go to fucking jail.
You lose your license to own a person. So pretty much what you're advocating
you don't
for
own them.
Slavery.
They consent.
You do own them.
The same way. No. Does your boss own you when you show up to work? They don't
pretty
own
much,
you.
yeah. Honestly, yes, they do. Your boss pretty much does own you. Yes. A boss can cut your hours. Your boss can say when you work and when you don't work. Yes. Bosses, if you go, my wife, excuse me, she's a waitress. She has a schedule, right? They can cut her hours whenever she wants. She has to deal with bullshit all the time. I got to go up there and fucking cuss these people out because how much they give her shit at her job. And she's probably the most experienced person at job doing that shit. She's been doing it since she was 16, doing this kind of shit. And they give her shit. Your boss does dictate your wages. Your boss can dictate a lot of things within, depending on where you work. So don't give me the shit. We're like, well, they'll lose their license. Yeah, we have a lot of cases where people do, and a lot of cases where people don't. We're looking at society now where things are not just, things are not going, life isn't fair. But obviously we're looking at a society where things are extremely unfair, and it's artificial. It's not just life, things happen, not everyone's going to win. But we've pushed our people within society not to win. And we're advocating for prostitution and saying that it's justified because we can make money off it, you automatically lose the argument, because you're making the same argument that people at the top would make for any other industry that has done harm, irreparable harm to these families. Look at the drug industry. These same people in the pharmaceutical companies, these same people push opium and push fentanyl on white communities, meth on white communities, crack and all these other substances on black communities, wherever. It's the same argument that they make. This addiction problem that we have in this country, sexually, it comes to illicit substances, all this. You're making the same argument, and it's not going to win, and no one's going to support you on it.
I make the argument it'll spread less STDs.
No, it would not. No, it would not, too. Because if you're having sex with a bunch of random people, and this one person is catching all these STDs from, they're
clean though. They get
no. How's an STD work?
Like it's regulated, and they have to get medicated. It's not like you have a one night stand with somebody, and then you don't get checked or whatever, and like you're not accountable, right? But if you're a prostitute, you're more accountable for your sexual health.
No, you're not.
So therefore, yes, you are. Yes, you are. As a prostitute, you are accountable for your sexual health.
Listen,
you're more accountable for your sexual health as a prostitute than you are as a regular day one night stand.
You are to go with a prostitute.
Dare I say that?
Prostitute. You are more likely. You are fucking 1,000.
No, if you are like a bar slut and you sleep with everybody, right? Like you're not accountable to
everyone. What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying if you're I'm saying if you're in the capacity of a lady who sleeps with strange men at the bar, like you're not going to be held accountable for your sexual health.
Is what a prostitute
right?
does.
But if you're a prostitute, you have to get checked up like every day. So therefore, you'd be actually more healthy. It's actually more clean to sleep with a prostitute than it is to sleep with the bar lady at the bar.
That's part of the regulation. Like, for example, there's a place in Pahrump. There's a place in Nevada that is an example of this.
Week?
No. There's a place in Nevada that's an example of this because it's legal in Pahrump. And they have a place that is called the Cat House or something like that. And they get tested every day. And part of the regulations is that they have to have documentation of their testing, and their testing has to be, I think it's like every 3 or 4 days, actually, not every day, but it's something like that. And it's like, if you have that regulation, like they already
I'm still
have
highly confident that they still have STDs going there. None of that shit's gonna work. You can bring out any example of like, well, it's regulated here in this one small town. Like, nigga, it's still not gonna be something that's good for the nation, good for civilization, good for our overall society. You advocating for prostitution? I'm telling you, this is the most disgusting fucking thing to advocate in the modern day.
It's beautiful.
Hold on.
Back to
Hold on. And it's obvious coming from one, because Zach, I've told you this. I don't want to get too personal, but I'm saying you've not experienced life enough to even debate.
Sex is beautiful.
John, I think that you don't even have a woman in your life to fucking do this, or even touched a woman. You just seem like you've been pussy repellent for the last 33 years. And it's never going to stop.
I would still
I don't want to
say
hear this from people who've never been around rape victims, who've never been around people who have been prostitutes, who've never had a conversation with people who've been destroyed by these things, who's never been around in a community where these things are extremely prevalent. Me being black and being Detroit, I can go walk up right now and fucking shoot you a film and have a conversation with people who live this life. And nigga, you don't want to live that.
Are these rape victims prostitutes?
Andre, I know you say you can, but have you talked to prostitutes?
Yeah, I have. Yes, I can go up on here in John R. Right here in John R. and McNichols, right there. It's a gas station. Gas station up there. It's a fucking Sunoco.
Okay.
Right across the street from a church. Right across the street from a church.
Of course it's a Sunoco.
Yeah, it's a fucking Sunoco.
No,
and
exactly.
Every night, even in the cold, these women sit out
I spoke to a few prostitutes that used to hang around at Sunoco quite often.
Mm-hmm.
So I also have a lot of experience in this realm of understanding the drug issue and understanding the prostitution issue. And I still think that prostitution should be legalized, though I take a different argument from what Zach and John are going. I think it should be a nationalized industry that is designed to fail. Designed to fail because the point is not to spread prostitution. The point is to contain it. There are always, history has shown us, there are always going to be broken individuals who have no place left to go. And it is better to bring them all into one general location where they can be monitored, their health can be monitored, and they can be taken care of. Whatever their needs are, their need to be met, instead of having them wander around, being taken advantage of by those pimps you were talking about earlier, and being abused by randos on the street. if they are in a brothel, lack of a better word, I'm sure a better term could be found later, they are watched not only by security, because every brothel has security, but by the person who runs the brothel, which is usually someone who started out as a prostitute. I'm sure you're familiar with the term madame, right?
Yeah, I'm very much familiar with that, yes.
Okay.
I mean, Miss.
The Miss is a new one. I didn't know that. But at any rate,
Madam is French for Miss.
I would say, growing up, a good majority of those who are running the brothels and who are the pimps, they're guys. It's glorified in the music. It's glorified in all the imagery in the black community. It's something that is pushed.
Yes, it is.
Promoted.
But it's the wrong way.
Here's the thing: is it there?
And it should not be promoted.
There's no justification for prostitution. Now, like I said, here's what I want. I want to go back to the drawing board. I want to go back to square one. We can't help these people who are already broken. We have to prevent from people being broken. So what do is you go into the education system and you, of course, rewrite the curriculum for sexual education. You get men and women to understand what are their roles in society, what is their focus and their purpose of being a man and a woman. You didn't choose anything. You were born, right? You were born and you're a man or a woman, and that's what you're going to be. And there's certain things that you're going to biologically, right, in terms of your brain structure, brain chemistry, that are going to push you in a certain direction, and you're going to inhibit certain things, et cetera, et cetera. We'll go on with that. I want to rewrite that to where we're teaching our young boys and girls that, hey, sexual education is not just learning about, oh, blue waffle, oh my God, icky, oh, cooties and shit. It's about, you as a man, you as a woman, here's your roles in society. Here's the respect you should have for one another. Here's your purpose and what your body parts, what their purpose and functionality is. And also teach them about the abuse that goes on within society, the history of this abuse, the history of these things. I think we don't want to talk about these things because, well, we should wait until they're older. I think we should gradually start talking about these things as they grow up because it's going to be important. Because what I don't want is some little girl to turn 17 is like, you know what? I want to pimp myself out. Or, you know what? I've got to feed my family because my mother's on drugs, or my father's been killed, or whatever. Here's a way I can make money quickly. I can sell my body. No, we're not going to have that. We're going to get rid of it. Like I said, when it comes to people who go and try to purchase prostitutes, I don't think they should get like this extreme penalty, but they have done some harm. They're trying to abuse people, right? I think it's to a less degree. They should get some punishment, some penalty. I don't think that a prostitute should be able to I don't think they should get like some ridiculous penalty and some punishment. I think they should be forced rehabilitation and education for them. And I think the pimp should get the maximum penalty. I think 15 years, if not life, because you're destroying the lives of young women and even men, spreading disease. You're drugging them up. You're doing so much irreparable harm to an individual psychologically, causing so much trauma within society, within community, within your own community. You do not deserve to see the light of day. You do not deserve to be, forgiven because you've done something that is absolutely disgusting. I have the same opinion on drug dealers, people who push drugs in the community. I think they should get the death penalty, if not life. I am very much passionate about that because they're destroying families, killing families, if not destroying people's lives. It doesn't matter if they chose to take the drugs. Yeah, these people chose to take the drugs. Yeah, that's right. Addiction is a terrible thing if anyone's ever have to deal with it. However, these people are willingly preying upon these people because they know that they're addicted and selling them that poison. Same thing with the pimps. They're preying on these young girls. They're preying on these even men as well because they know they're in need of money. They know it's a quick way to make a buck. They know they can use their bodies because they may be X, Y, and Z. You look at them, right? You've seen prostitutes on the street. Some of these women, I'm talking about the older ones, or I'm talking about those who are of age. Yeah, they look good. They got a nice body. People like sex. People want to have sex. However, these people are preying upon these vulnerable women who are mentally disturbed with a lot of trauma in their life and are desperate, preying upon them to make a quick buck. And the ones who become successful, they go into the porn industry, which is it is. I want to gut it so bad. I can't wait for the day that we gut the entire porn industry, we destroy it. Yes, men are always going to look for porn and look for sex. That's just natural. What we don't have to do is we don't have to create entire industries where we can sit back and celebrate and parade it around and throw confetti when someone gets fucking jerked off by a prostitute. No, we're not going to have that. Go on. Dante, it's good to have you up on the panel. I just see you popped up.
Thank you.
Do you have anything you want to say? I think this will be great.
Not really, honestly. I don't really have a strong enough opinion on prostitution either way to have a succinct point.
Well, in that case, if I may continue my point from earlier, um, even with the porn industry, it's the same sex trafficked women, and it doesn't matter if it's a legal business or not. In Saudi Arabia, buying people is legal. You can, like, you go to fucking the Muslim countries, they have like fucking places you can go. They showcase women and men and say, okay, I want that one. You bid on humans and stuff like that. And I pretty much assume
We should
that
bring back buying wives.
no.
Nigga, do
There's
you
a
have a
reason
wife?
my great great uncle fought against that, but it's
Exactly.
Going to China and get me one.
shut the fuck up. You maple leaf motherfucker. I can't wait the day that we fucking take your shitty ass country over. God, it would be so great.
You know, if China has anything to say.
Crusade against us fucking Quebecois motherfucker. It's but I digress.
Crusade.
But the
Oh,
thing
now you
is
can
with
speak French.
the thing is that it doesn't matter. And as
Crusades.
the comment, as the
That's
comment
distorted.
shown earlier, that it's the illegal businesses, they still check and everything. But the thing is that it's the slavery argument. Is it justifiable to do this because, well, I want it? But you're enslaving, you're prospecting slavery, even if you're not the person like who's pimping him out. And it just gets to a point. And I would also like to make a point. Zach, aren't you Catholic?
No, he's a Baptist.
Oh, even fucking worse. Jesus.
Right.
That's even worse. You want a moral, as someone who's not Christian but used to be, you want someone immoral, an immoral act that isn't, especially in the Bible, even in Baptist theology, that there is a sacred union when you have sex between a man and a woman, and that sex before marriage is even considered immoral in Baptist theology as well. So you want to prospect this immoral act in your own religion. It kind of shows a little bit of.
Are you saying
character.
it's immoral to have two wives?
No. That's not
I'm
what
not
saying.
saying that. I'm saying that it's
they're already
immoral
being
to have
harmed.
sex before marriage in the
They're
Christian
already
theology.
being harmed, my friend. I'm trying to make sure that they aren't harmed further and they're abused and beaten and fucking raped. Because if you regulate them the same way that employees
you
are
making
regulated,
it legal it's still not going to
This
justify
doesn't
it.
change
It's
it.
still
If
not
we
going
made
to-
heroin legal tomorrow, that wouldn't stop people from dying.
Exactly.
it would though. Actually, if you take
No,
the
it would
No, it
fentanyl out of the
wouldn't.
drugs,
It's
it would.
fucking
the
heroin.
usage, you could.
You take it, our body,
Yes, but
like literally, you take heroin.
No, but if you legalize heroin, you can regulate it and you don't have it spiked.
That is another topic. That is another topic. If we want to move into the overall,
I have to go to the store. I have to buy alcohol because this is like the most fucking. This is what happens when you.
We need legalized cocaine.
So are you going to do the
Math.
cocaine, John? Do you do cocaine?
So that there is no spiking in the drugs. Yes.
Exactly.
So
the drug supply is
doesn't
clean.
fucking stop
So
it.
that way nobody dies. And then there can be drug physicians to measure your body and do research to make sure that people.
Why are you
dying less and
advocating
less
for things to be worse than what it is?
from-
Why are you
hold
advocating
up.
for things in society to be far worse than what it is
True.
to be? This is all I'm hearing.
If
How is
you
this far worse?
take certain
people
drugs,
wouldn't be dying. They would be in the streets. There'd be less homeless. There would be no prostitution on the corners. Prostitution would be centralized. It would be a cleaner society.
no, it wouldn't. But it would be a fucking
it-
dirty society.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I very rarely.
Zach, I have a
interject,
question
but-
for Zach. Actually, this is just a genuine
Oh,
question.
go
Sure.
ahead.
Zach, do you believe in like a nationalized prostitution industry? Like it should be nationalized?
No, but I do believe it should be heavily taxed, so that way the government does use the money to
Nationalized
for, like,
prostitution
mental
is
health
my.
services.
I'm
That's
just saying
Tyler's
if you're
position.
gonna have legal prostitution and you want to centralize it, I think the easiest and best way to centralize it at that point would just have it be nationalized. And then if you're going to make the argument for this, you could use public funding. Well, not the public. It would fund itself, and you can make a profit off of it, and you can pay for a lot of like public services with it if you're going to do a national.
So the
national
public would be the pimp of, and people could choose their own servitude to the sexual order.
I'm not saying I advocate for this. I'm just trying to steel man your argument here.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying that basically, I don't see a way to fix it other than making people safer, making the situation cleaner, like John mentioned, the testing all the time to make sure that if STTs do get in the pool, they don't proliferate. And you have a situation where STDs would be terrible because they would stop somebody's livelihood. So I mean, they wouldn't be, it's not encouraged to keep going with STDs. We're not gays here. You have a certain situation though where if the Christian position doesn't contend with the reality of actually what needs to actually occur in my position, because the Christian position would be to just abolish it completely from society. But if you do follow that line that we did start on, you're going to have more people that are being hidden in caves and dungeons and being fucking trafficked and assaulted and irreparably harmed than if
there should be punishment for the people who go out and do these things. They should be ashamed that they go out and do these things. I don't see anything wrong with that at all. Like I said, is this good for the nation? Is this good for civilization? It's good
in my opinion, it is much better for the cohesion of the city to not have.
Grid, you good to come up, Grid?
No, this is the same shit. Like I said, what you're advocating for is a far worse system. Hold on. What you're advocating for is far worse than what we're dealing with now. It's adding more gasoline onto the fire. Like, just throw the whole fucking gas can on it, right? This is let everyone just, make it legal. Let everyone do it. No, not going to have that. We're not going to have that going forward because we're already dealing with a problem right now. The root problem is how men and women view each other within society today. That's the root problem. Okay. How do we fix this? Well, we have to educate and make sure we're teaching this, not only in the schools, but also in the home. We're promoting this. Oh, my goodness, even more. Great. We're promoting this within the schools and the home of these things are wrong. These things are bad. And here's the natural roles of men and women within society. Here's the natural roles of people within society. I don't want to live in this. I don't think that, of course, humans are not perfect. But I don't think that we're going to be living in the 22nd century with these things going on, right? I don't think that we're going to be moving past this century with all the problems that we do today. I think we're going to go far beyond it. There's going to be problems that exist for their generation, this century. But these things can be stomped out within this century. I think it should be. Right? We should right these wrongs today, as we've done with slavery, as we've done with so many different things. We should get rid of these things. They're not good today. This is the biggest. When we talk about modern day slavery, it is sex trafficking. It is prostitution. It's all these different things that are going on in Western countries. They're getting taken from the Western countries and being brought over into the Middle East. It is being proliferated all throughout the Middle East and Africa. We need to get rid of this shit. It's absolutely disgusting. If they have men, grown men that, I don't think any of us have children here on this panel. Unfortunately, I'm hoping that when we do have children,
I have to correct you on that.
Well, yeah, I already know you. So don't even say shit. Shut up. But when we do have children, I'm sure that your opinion will very much change when you have a daughter and you find out that she's, whoring herself out. I'm very much sure your opinion would change on these things the moment that you have a child, be it boy or girl, come into this world and you are going to protect them with your life. I got a little sister. You think I want my little sister who's not? She's just. I put my little sister. She's 12, so you already know what age she's at. You already know what things she's going in her life. I just came home and I'm finding out that she's got to deal with all this shit. Do you think I want her to turn 18? It's like, well, I'm going to make a choice because I want to, sell out my body and make some money or do whatever I want. And there's an industry for it and it's healthy and it's legal. Fuck no. I'm going to slap the shit out of her and say, what the fuck is wrong with you? Have some self-respect. This entire industry it's an industry of both men and women. They don't have respect for themselves and no respect for another. And as Christians, as I'm hearing from two Christians here advocating for this shit, it's fucking disgusting. You're not Christian. You're just as bad and as worse as anyone else that is non-Christian that promotes this kind of shit. The same people who are Christian and promote this shit.
It's ironic the non-Christian.
But people naturally like feminists, right? I'm gonna go to a different angle here. Feminists are saying it's sexually liberating, even though they would.
I don't give a fuck.
Feminists back in the day would say it is. Degrading to do sexual work. Now they're saying it's liberating because they're girl boss and they make a lot of money. But my point is, brothels are more traditional. Brothels are more in line with a healthy traditional society. You don't promote it as the main thing, right? We have a sexualized society right now, in spite of it being Christian. We have a Christian society who who underhandedly promotes sexual deviancy due to the sexual revolution and the birth control pill.
We don't have a Christian.
If you're actually serious about, if you're serious about ending sex, if you're serious about ending casual sexual relationships, you would abolish the birth control pill.
Oh, I'm for that. Wait, is John a Christian? I gotta ask really quick.
No.
I'm playing Subnautica, and I kept seeing his fucking mole rat pop up in my screen every 2 seconds saying
"What's up?"
about prostitution. So I had to come on here and say something. So is John a Christian?
No.
Oh, I kind of figured as much. Okay, I just wanted to get that out of the way. So no, we don't live in a Christian society. We live in a liberal society, where we would want it to go back to a Christian society. That's the difference.
And I honestly, as someone,
I'm saying there's Christian households that sexually repressed their that didn't give them their kids the sexual talk or the sex talk, and they go out and they're on OnlyFans and they're on Pornhub at younger and younger ages.
Aspect of
but I don't want you to go. Yeah, but you know what? If the parents don't
if they went,
that conversation, that's one thing. But I don't want you going in there having that conversation with them.
Well,
no,
the thing is
yeah. I'm not saying no. I'm saying that. I'm just saying, like, in spite of all of that, we still have moral degeneracy, as you guys say. So it's not religion that's going to solve the problem. It's going to be a healthy sexual expression where people are accountable in some measure when they go to.
What you think a healthy sexual expression?
I think like optimal peak healthy sexually active man has like up to 4 wives.
I've got to ask this question, John. Hold on, we need a virgin check.
That's a very Darwinian mindset.
Have you ever had sex with a woman? Have you ever had sex with a woman?
That's in the Quran.
Have you ever had
sex up to 4 wives?
John, have you ever had sex with a woman?
Yes.
Okay. Are you married?
No.
You have a girlfriend?
Have you ever had sex with a transsexual before?
I said
he doesn't have a girlfriend.
I have sex with tranny, so you don't have a girlfriend. Okay. So you have, obviously you have a mother. Do you have any siblings? Do you have any?
Hey guys, I'm gonna get going. I just wanted to say hi and join in on the fun for a bit.
Take it easy, Tom.
All right.
I think you're questioning your pretext of your questioning. Has it that you are a very sexually repressed person and you're ashamed of your sexuality? I say a man who is like very alpha has 4 wives that he has sex with on a day-to-day basis. That is most optimally most alpha men out there. It is not this one man, one woman.
Hold on. Why don't you have 4 wives, John? Why don't you have 4 wives? If it's the most alpha thing to have, I have 1 wife, so I'm already there. I'm about to complete the mission, right? You don't have 4 wives. You don't even have a wife. So
women of the West are not worth marrying.
Oh, they're not worth.
Oh my God, you're so fucking gay. So let me interject.
No, I'm serious. It takes 2, right? Or it takes 5. I don't know.
So let me interject.
I'm gonna go
John, until you get married to them, and then they're a nightmare.
John, one question.
I want a harem of Filipino women.
Yeah,
I want 4 Filipino women wives who are preferably Muslim.
Take every dollar you've ever made in 4 back-to-back divorces.
So let me interject in this thing. Is that
they're gonna try and kill you?
Filipino women are very resourceful, actually.
Okay, Panfusa,
I'm waiting for an argument or a position. You guys are just fucking babbling.
Yeah. So the main question was, should prostitution be legalized within the United States?
I mean, no.
Okay.
No.
Grid says no.
We're trying to we're once again going to fail at legislating morality.
What morality?
Has something to do with
your morality.
All government is an attempt to legislate morality.
No, that's incorrect. Government should punish bad behavior that society finds objectionable, but that has nothing to do with morality. Taxation.
So this guy is going to legislate morality, but doesn't believe in God.
The word "bad"
amazing.
it's philosophically, it has to do with morals. It's a good or a bad thing.
No, that's a bullshit argument.
What?
You're not. I'm not gonna let you get away with that shit.
Your morality is subjective.
Well,
first of all, morality in general is subjective. Second,
so you're
morality.
No, I'm saying your morality is subjective.
Okay.
Morality in and of itself cannot be legislated. All we can do is impose a penalty for what we find to be objectionable. That's it.
How is that not legislated?
But that's subjective, though. There's either morality that's subjective, or there's objective morality from a higher.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
As above, so below.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do: Grid and Axis. Everyone else, please. We can't expect Grid to try to argue against 5 different people at the same time. I know, but it's not very entertaining for everyone else that's watching. I know, but Grid, Axis, go ahead.
All right, so let's talk about, first of all, unless you are coming at it from a point of some form of religious worldview that appeals to something other than your preferences, all morality is by definition then subjective, and it's not even morality; it's ethics at that point. So, and you can't legislate that. You can impose a penalty for, doing a specific act. But that doesn't make that act moral or immoral. That's just like taxation. If I don't pay my taxes, I go to jail. It's not immoral.
Well, I don't understand. I don't understand what the actual practical application of what you just said is. So we can't legislate morality, but we can punish people for doing things that we deem are immoral. That's the same thing. You're just adding philosophical hogwash on top of it.
No, I'm not. You're trying to say that it's against my point of view. You're trying to say it's against my preference that women should not be able to sell themselves, and therefore we're going to punish them. That's fine. But you're trying to legislate the morality through that. You're trying to say this is my moral ground. Yeah. We don't, and we fail at that every time. Drug use. How's the war on drugs going? We fail when we try to do this every time. So the best that we can do is to educate and work at prevention from early on, rebuild the nuclear family, and all of those things that nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to talk about that. They would just rather say, "Well, we'll just make it illegal." There should be a law.
I think we're probably in more agreement than you think. No, at the end of the day, you can't fix anything as far as the way society works through legislation alone. It has to be grassroots, and then eventually the legislation follows.
Right, but when you start making people criminals, what happens? What's the result of that?
In what regard? I don't know what you're trying to get at.
Social stigma. You drive them into an even deeper life of crime. All of these
but at the end of the day, society is going to be filled with a bunch of different people that disagree on these sorts of things, and the government's going to pick a side.
But you're making it worse.
Somebody is going to be off the side.
Are we trying to solve a problem? Are we trying to solve a problem?
Are we going to allow everything?
Well, I mean, from my worldview, the only things that should be, at least at the nationwide federal level, is if it's not. I'm a constitutional conservative, so if it isn't in the Constitution, it doesn't belong. That includes IRS. It's taxation.
Our founding fathers fucked whores, by the way.
Again, I don't care if some woman wants to go sell herself. Perhaps we should facilitate that in a safe way, but you're not going to stop her from doing that.
Right.
So what do we do to make it better? How do we solve the problem?
Well, this
is why the question of illegal, that's irrelevant to me, because to me that's a stupid question. I mean, I don't believe that most things should be
right. Yeah, you don't believe in any sort of morality or anything. This is why.
I have a very fixed morality, but I can't force my Christian worldview on you. I can't assume that you are going to operate from my Christian worldview. What I have to do then is I have to dumb down my argument to the point where we can talk on the same level.
Didn't you just get done saying morals were subjective?
He said if you don't appeal to a higher power, they are, which is correct.
I talk really fast sometimes, so I apologize if you just if it just missed you completely. But yes, I said, unless you have a religious ground for your morality, it is simply a matter of your preference as to what is or is not moral.
And as an atheist, I agree with that. Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
That's logically consistent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I disagree with you on that then. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we can't legislate morality. So no, it should not be legal. Let's move on. I mean, are we done here?
Yeah, we can move on to the next question. Does everyone agree with that, I guess?
It kind of confused us exactly what the fuck was just said.
It's really simple. Like,
wait, he's pro prostitution, but he's also a Christian.
I just simply I have to be able to operate from in a way that I can mutually talk to you, right? Like if I simply say from my moral worldview, all whores should be put to death. That would be fine from my worldview, right? But I can't legislate that based on my morality. Because
what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean, whore? Like, you mean like infidelity? Like, if someone cheats in a marriage, or are you just talking about?
You can take it as far as you want.
Sounds like you're just. It sounds like you're placing that on you're placing that restriction on yourself. That's
I'm not. I simply said.
Okay, so you're gonna pose like stoning.
So hard to understand. Holy shit.
No, I would not. But I'm saying that if I did, I use that as an example because I actually tend not to use religion in a debate because I'm not qualified. I'm not a theologist. I'm not a pastor. I'm completely unqualified to debate religion. However,
are you a Christian though?
I can say from my Christian worldview that prostitution is wrong. However, we cannot legislate morality because unless we're going to say that the entire country is now Christian and we're all looking at it through a Christian lens, then your morality does not align with my morality.
Well, I would
and then we're back to stoning people and burning people at the stake, right?
Based.
I mean, you can go down that rabbit hole. You can go down that rabbit hole like the Protestants and the Catholics of hundreds of years in the Dark Ages of wars.
Go that way because my worldview, even if which I don't actually believe, I'm not super Old Testament, but from a religious worldview, sure, that might be appropriate, right? Like you said you could have 4 wives, right? Wow, how could I object to that? That's your morality. That's your religion.
Well, then in Muslim countries, that's legislated too. So why can't you legislate morality? If we can do it in Muslim countries, why can't you do it in Christian countries?
Is that not
if you can do it in Muslim countries, why can't you do it in Christian countries?
Because we would have to all agree. We'd all have.
The thing is that what you're forgetting is that even as someone who is a pagan, I even acknowledge that majority of the American society is a Christian society.
Sure.
Who mostly agree on the fact that certain moral aspects there's wrong and there's bad, and it's pretty consistent throughout all the theology besides maybe the fucking Mormons. But it's I feel like you can. I feel
Mormons
like
are based.
The will. No, they're not.
Mormons are interesting.
Who cares about the Mormons? No one cares. But the thing is that if the majority of the nation agrees on a certain point, then why should it not be legislated for the morality? If only fucking
you should legislate your society. Your society was founded upon Christian principles. That's where you get the Constitution from. Yes. Some would argue you get the First Amendment from the Quran, but that's a debate. That's a debate. But I'm saying, but mostly, your government has been founded upon Christian values of the 10 Commandments. This is how your legal structure is built and is enforced, even if you realize it or not. It can be really deceptive. But I think we get into this deceptive arguments trying to appeal to secular morality. But really, you should just say, I'm a Christian. I think we should legislate this. I think that would be a more honest argument as opposed to trying to snake your way, trying to make a rational point.
More moral argument. I don't know that I agree with that. Let's just back up a second, take it from another point of view. You're correct.
I
Our
think
country
we're all
was
over the
founded
place
on
here.
Christian morals and ethics. And the only mention of a separation of church and state was in some letters written by Thomas Jefferson, saying that that there was no separation of church and state. The original 13 colonies all had a state religion and a state church that most people belong to. So while you're correct, in modern day form, that is no longer the case.
So it's damn immigrant Protestants.
America was founded.
Literally everyone that came over was Protestant. Like,
yeah, I was about to say, like the founding fathers.
Let's not
were all
rewrite that
English.
part of history. Like the Orthodox came late to the party in the United States. So let's not get that twisted.
But the thing is, even in modern times, the nation is still majority Christian. And the thing is that, yes, you could say that there's more secularists, more atheists, more non-Christians, but the thing is that the moral society still exists. The thing is with it is that it
I just
doesn't
think when we
really
try and
matter.
legislate morality, we fail because we did it
Why?
with the war on drugs.
No, you can't. All you need is public support.
We didn't.
I don't.
How much public support was there
trying to,
against the war on drugs?
I'm trying to understand, like, because we're
I don't know
jumping
who's
in the
talking.
middle here, and
Okay,
it's
I got you.
Axis. So, because I am trying to understand where you're coming from here. So you're saying, oh, well, what has the war on drugs done? So should all drugs be legal?
Yeah, actually, I think all drugs should be legal.
Okay, so you think all drugs should be legal? Do you think? And
I don't believe that there's anything. I don't believe that anything in the original that wasn't in the original Constitution it has any business being.
Do you need the
federally
Constitution?
Hold on.
Do you need
Hold
the
on.
Constitution to tell you that meth is bad?
Right.
Well, hold on.
What was the Constitution like?
On a state level, that's fine. If my state wants to make it illegal, that's fine. But if your state doesn't, federally, the federal government should not be doing this. We shouldn't be spending our tax dollars on it. We should
You
not
said
be.
you're a Christian,
we should do
right?
that.
If I could hop in and help it, like, okay, what
I
Grit is
can
trying
bear-
to
I gotta
say
turn
here.
my volume.
What Grit is trying to say here is that you cannot, when you have a society that is as ethically diverse, and what that means is, like, we have people with all these different ethical frameworks, right? You have people like me who are atheists who don't believe in an objective morality. You have people here who are Christians who do believe in an objective morality. But the point is, even though he believes in an objective morality, and even though in his personal beliefs, it might be okay to stone the whores, it might be okay to kill the drug dealers. The point is, in a society that exists as it does, you're not going to be able to successfully legislate that because it requires the vast majority of society. It requires a super majority in society to basically just go along with that. Like if we were to
something
have,
is so unbelievably
just a second, and the reason you have people having multiple wives, that being okay in Muslim countries, the reason that that's legal in Muslim countries is because the majority of people accept it as a socially normative behavior. So it's kind of just like, yeah, of course that's legal because it's socially normative, right? If we cannot even agree on what is socially normative, we can't legislate it because it won't lead to anything.
Yeah, they also have a king, and they kill you if you disagree with them. So
yeah, exactly. So if that's socially normative, then
let's not leave out details that matter.
And again, the Gertie, whatever, you said you're Christian too.
Yeah, but that's irrelevant to the point he's trying to make.
No, I mean, it's probably like the only thing that's relevant.
It's the only thing you want to argue with me about, but it's a
it was just it was just a
the
question.
only part of the argument that you can pick at because I'm right. Okay, we fail miserably.
I did ask a question.
Yeah.
So
okay, what question?
You said you're Christian, right?
Yes.
I always find it interesting because it's like the constitutional fetishists that tend to start getting along with the atheists and the Muslims and everybody else, anything but other Christians. That's why I'm highly skeptical of the constitutional religion, which is basically just
there's
masonry.
No constitutional religion. It's
a religion. It's masonry. It's
fuck up. That's the kind of
insulting
bullshit that makes me want to treat you like an idiot.
I said
no, because are we gonna sit here and say, well, you're gonna take a look at the Constitution, and I really can't.
What is the law of the
any
land,
sort
sir?
of-
What
I
is the
can't
law of the
find
land? What is the
the
law of the
Bible.
land, sir? What is the law of the land, sir? Is the
Christ-
Bible
Christ
the law of
is
the
king.
land,
Christ
or
is
is the
king, not a piece-
Constitution the law of the land, sir? Sir,
the
just answer the
Constitution-
fucking
The
question.
Constitution is a piece of paper that can
That
get
is
torn
enforced
up,
by
and
the
it
government.
will
Literally
be-
is the law of the land, sir.
The Constitution will not outlast the 10 Commandments. At the end of the day, Christ is king, not the
Sure,
Constitution.
okay.
And if you can,
Okay,
you have to.
when
you
I
have
go
to- no, no,
outside,
I'm
when I go outside and do a
gonna
big ass burnout in my car, does the clergy come and arrest me, or do cops come arrest me?
Exactly.
What does that have
Does
to
it say
do
in
with
the
anything?
Constitution
I'm
that you
talking
can?
about you,
Everything
dumb
to do
son
with
of a
it.
bitch.
If I may,
Like,
No,
I
I'm trying
really,
to- I'm
if you're
trying
going
to
to
talk
argue,
about-
if you're
I'm
going to
trying to
argue,
talk
make
about
good
the-
arguments.
Ladies, fine. I'm
Make
trying
good
to find
arguments, sir.
If I
Make
may,
Are you
if I
gonna
may,
let me
good
have one?
arguments. These are
Are
the
you gonna let me
weakest
have one?
arguments possible.
I'm trying-
The Constitution is a fetish. No, it's the law of the land. It's what I have to work with.
It's your
If
fetish.
the Ten
in
Commandments
particular.
were the law
I'm
of the
trying
land,
to figure out where
every
the
single
spine
person
is in
abided
your
by the
spongy little
Ten
body.
Commandments, then we could have that conversation. But we cannot have the conversation about the religious law in America when we're talking about
when you-
constitutional
when you-
law.
so you-
It's
yeah,
right
so when
fucking
you
there in
go-
the name.
So when
All right. All
well,
right.
put all that aside here. So
Let
basically,
Dante
when
get
you
it
go
say it.
online and you look at somebody being subjected to sexual crimes, when you see people that are overdosing on ketamine, you sit there as a Christian and you're like, "Well, the Constitution says that I really."
No, you know what I
shouldn't do anything
say?
about
You
the
know what I
ketamine."
say? You know what I say? You know what I say?
Probably
That really
something
sucks for them.
liberal like
It really
that.
sucks for them.
Go
But
do
you know
it.
what?
Yeah, I
You
knew
know
that.
what?
I knew you were going to do that because at the
Yeah,
end of the
you know
day,
what? You know what? You know
you're
what?
not
As a
Christian,
Christian,
you're a liberal.
as a Christian, I accept the fact that people are individuals. I am not my brother's keeper. I accept the fact. I accept the fact that while
Disagree.
I strive every single day to be the best Christian I can be, other people do not. Other people are fucking evil, sir. I can't do shit about it.
All right, perfect. So from this point,
Isn't it a commandment that you love thy brother as you love yourself?
Motherfucker.
You have to be your brother's
Okay.
keeper.
We're letting Dante go. We're letting
Okay,
Dante go.
So I'm going to.
Why are we letting Dante go? He's the only one that made any fucking sense so far.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Grid here that the Constitution is in fact the law of the land, and it's for a very simple reason. What is enforced? Okay, so how does a state exist? A state exists because it has coercive force. It has sovereignty over a particular plot of land, and within that state, there is a government which decides this is legal and this is illegal, and these are the behaviors that we accept, and these are the behaviors that we penalize. And through their force, their use of force within a given territory, that is the law. So the Constitution is the law of the land because within the United States, there is a unity in the coercive use of power by the federal and state governments that decide this is okay, this is not okay. So by definition, that is the law of the land. That is what a state is. That's what a state does.
Yeah,
Right,
you didn't have to go into a 5-minute conversation to explain to me the guys
It
with
wasn't
the paper and the
a
gun.
5-minute conversation. It was a
I feel like you
2-minute
did because you kind of don't act like you don't know.
You failed to understand.
No, that I don't
Christ
understand.
is king. The Bible is law. Like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It isn't law.
Well,
It
you're
isn't
yeah,
law.
you're an
No
atheist.
one
I'm not
socially
surprised the
enforces
so-called
it.
conservative
No one
Christian is
enforces it
agreeing
through
with
the
you.
police or through the
Okay,
military.
so
It's not the law of the land.
religious law binds me, but Dante can go fuck whoever he wants, and when you can't arrest him for it. Is that what you're saying?
What is that?
And if I fall away from my
Fuck are we
religion, that's a
talking?
personal matter.
God allows it. God allows it. It's in scripture. He allows that activity. Yes.
Oh, right, yeah. Whoa.
No one ever.
He
No one
literally
ever.
allows
Oh,
temptation. He
God.
allows sin.
No
If
one
God
ever
didn't make
said
a perfect
that-
world, why the fuck are you
Shit,
trying
man,
to make
I'm
a
gonna be
perfect
on the
world?
motherfucking block. You know what I'm
No
saying?
one ever said that you should try to legislate that away either. I was trying to get the main point that I'm trying to get at is that you're not even conceptualizing the idea that the government should possibly in any way, shape, or form try to mitigate and remove
The government
potential
is
for
not.
any of this.
The government has no business being in my personal and private life, sir.
in any way, shape, or form. So you don't think that
no.
having ketamine? So
have you read the
think that your
Constitution?
neighbor,
Have
really,
you
so
read
you're-
the Constitution, sir? Have you?
So you're telling me that your neighbor making ketamine and having everybody fucking strung out on your front lawn has nothing to do with
Well,
you
if it's on my
as
front
an
lawn, then it's my
individual?
fucking problem. But
Oh,
to
okay.
be
So
honest
he's
with you,
across the street instead. So
to be
he's across
honest
the
with
street
you,
instead.
to be honest with you, if it's
Really?
not-
So
if
you
that
think
if the
this-
guy next door was matter of fact, he wouldn't because he's a retired army colonel. But if he were to be smuggling meth, as long as
So
they
he
come
wouldn't
in
be
my yard,
smuggling,
I
he'd
don't
just be
give a
making it
fuck.
with. He
Do you
just be making
understand?
it because in your mind view, it doesn't matter if the guys next door are shooting porn, the other guys on the other side are making ketamine. Well, as long as I'm okay, this isn't going to affect me or my society in any way, shape, or form. Like everybody can just do whatever
Well, on
they
a
want.
personal
It doesn't
level,
affect
I might do
society in any
something
way.
but the government. What?
Oh my
so
God,
wait a
they
minute, hold on.
filmed
Hold on. I got to ask.
That's what you call red herring.
I got to ask a couple of questions here because I'm getting real dumbass vibes here. So let me ask you a couple of questions. Are you a communist?
Man, hell yeah, man. I'm a communist. Shit, man.
Are you you believe? I mean, I'm serious. Do you believe the government should dictate every aspect of your fucking life?
Man, hell yeah, man.
No.
No. Okay. Do you believe it's the government's responsibility to protect society from itself?
Man,
Yes.
shit.
You do.
Shit.
Yes. That
Okay.
is one of the
Hold
rules,
on.
one of the rules of government.
Stop. I wasn't done asking questions. Do you think it's okay if Donald Trump tomorrow decides that anyone with red hair is a fucking menace to society and decides
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Shit, dog.
Fucking hate gingers.
No.
fucking gingers have no
Clip
soul?
that. Clip that.
Total ginger
Clip that.
death, man.
So
Total
seriously,
ginger death.
that's a serious question. I'm trying to follow your logic train. Your logic is illogical. Your logic is the government
No.
is you got your your government needs to interfere in your
A
life.
red herring with a red herring.
So you do understand that Christian society existed prior to the Constitution, right? Like there is an entire civic.
Oh, you mean the Church of
philosophy-
England, which like killed a bunch of people and like committed atrocities?
No, prior
you
to
think
that
about
as well.
Or
If
maybe
I
it's
could
the,
bring-
the other church that
So,
killed people
that
for
you don't
translating the
understand.
Bible into German and English.
The other
The
not gonna
Protestant
name it, though.
Luther. Hey, Catholics. The Saint
But
Luther.
if I may bring this conversation to a more civilized
No,
position.
I like it. I'm liking this. I like the fact
Martin
that you
Luther
want
is a
If,
saint.
if I may ask you a question,
that
The spawn of
government
Lucifer.
jack bugs to come in and fuck everybody up. I like that guy. I mean,
Sure.
I think
Yeah, I really
Now-
enjoy
now, if
the,
I may
I really enjoy the
interject-
Christians jerking off into the fucking Constitution all the time.
whatever. But if I may interject, if the Constitution states that America is a nation for the people, by the people, correct?
yes.
So if it was the will of the people, if everyone came collectively and said that prostitution should be legalized and we elect a person to enact that law,
Sure,
or
we
we
can-
come to a
we can
referendum,
get that.
That's a democracy. It's not a republic.
If you can get
Republic is
if you could get a Continental Congress to approve that, then sure. You
Yes.
can,
then
if you can
would
get
that not
ratified-
still be technically legislating morality?
That's missing his point. So what he's saying here is actually very simple. You can only start to legislate things that we consider moral or ethical once you get the majority of society to say that this is not a normative behavior and therefore we should penalize it. That is the only point at which you can start effectively legislating it. It is a very simple point.
Sure.
So wait, what the fuck is the point of the conversation then?
So what? Okay, the point of the conversation is if we want to get, let's say we all here agree that in general, prostitution is negative for society. Let's just say we all agree. Even if you don't, let's just say for the sake of argument, we all agree with that. Okay, what is the best way to deal with prostitution? And Grid can correct me if he's wrong, but my interpretation is right now he thinks it is infeasible, which I would agree, to make it illegal because you do not have a super majority of people agreeing that this is not a normative behavior.
No, I would
If
say the
you can-
government
if you-
should incentivize normal sexual behavior.
But
I've
what
heard
is
just
normal?
about enough
The
out of
problem
you,
is normal
Rasputin.
is subjective here. The problem is
yeah,
that normal.
okay there, buddy.
No, but like normal is That is subjective. It is a subject who is making the opinion, okay? Therefore, making it subjective.
Routine.
So basically,
Isn't-
what you need a supermajority of people to say this is normative or this is not normative, and then you can make it legislative, right? It has to be grassroots. It has to be bottom up, and then after and only after it is grassroots and bottom up can legislation be passed.
Right.
I agree.
And if you can get people, and if you
Or
can
you
get
could top
people in
down.
government, and if you can get people in government that can incentivize the correct behavior, then they should incentivize the correct behavior.
All right,
Cool.
next topic.
Keep talking, Rasputin.
Please, next topic,
Keep
please.
picking up.
Rasputin. All right, there, Shlomo.
Yeah, just keep- look in the booth, baby. Look in the
Yeah,
booth.
you got your King James and your Constitution there.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Love
Yeah.
her, love
Yeah, let's go to
her.
the next topic.
This
Right.
is very bloodstock
right.
tonight. This is
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I saw
That's right.
Flat Cap, and I knew exactly where it was going.
John,
Your
Power
waving
Christ
books
compels
around.
you.
We all know you don't
That to
read.
spread holy
I hear-
water on you, vampire.
I see Flat Cap, and I hear Constitution, and all I know is I'm just going to hear nothing but just ineptitude.
What? You're
Now-
against the
Yeah.
Constitution?
You don't
Now,
even
if
have
I
the
ask-
counter.
You're
Yeah,
a
I really don't care
Next
about
topic.
that.
don't even have the
Next
counter.
topic, everybody.
Okay, now I'm going to rephrase this question, okay? So we can't have the same argument we just had over like morality and all of that. All right. All right. Pro or against abortion?
Against.
Against.
Bro!
Abortion for mixed kids only.
Pro abortion. Pro abortion.
Well, hold up.
You're out as well, motherfucker.
Depending
That's
on
the
the
Nixon position,
situation.
man. It's the Nixon abortion position.
You don't realize the consequences of being anti-abortion. There is a reason why abortion was implemented in America. It was to
get rid of black
control
It
the
literally was
population.
existed to get rid of black people.
Trying to get rid of me, you know. They were trying to get rid
Yeah,
of me.
Actually, you know, that case.
14,000.
By
Margaret
progressives, by liberals,
Margaret
by
Sanger,
progressives.
baby. Margaret Sanger.
Margaret Sanger is a hero, is an American hero.
I would suspect that it would be okay in certain situations when it comes to a idea of like if the child is going to be like mentally retarded, or it's just in case of the situation that caused it
What
through
if the-
incest.
What if there's no father in the
What if the
picture?
child has John Vance disease?
Hey, kill that motherfucker. Just blow his ass out.
Yeah. It's
Through a
John
eugenics
Vance,
lens, I would say.
Terminal
That's what the
Terminal
Romans did.
Through ages.
Oh, fuck,
They
it's-
did that all the time. They did abortion all the time.
Hey, let me see. Hang on. What's going on?
John, they're gonna name a disease.
Only the
after
strongest
you.
survive. Abortion.
One, you good?
Pro-abortion. We need more abortion.
On
Oh my
a certain
goodness.
case by
John,
case.
you're a walking
We need more clinics
advertisement.
opened and
John is
get it funded and
Best advertisement for
You're the
abortion
birth
eugenics.
controls. Your big birth controls biggest dream, baby. You walking around the streets, man. You just make the pussies go dry. They
If
just
you
want-
make
they just
men
wanna-
want to have vasectomies,
make men want to have it. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yep.
We
the
need
ladies
less
wanna
people
take
on
the
this earth.
SSRIs.
You kinda look like
We need
Dick
less
History's
people.
retarded cousin, bruh.
I already said it. But in the case of like, if you just want to have an abortion, just to have an abortion. Oh, I just don't want this child. I think that no. But in a case of eugenics, in a sense, like if the child is going to come out like physically not capable of living life as a normal human being, then I said yes.
Okay, I have
Here's
a
the thing, this is
different
how you
question on
solve
this
the
topic.
abortion argument.
Gene
We
editing.
wouldn't
What's
even
your
have
guys'
this-
opinion on gene
No.
editing?
We wouldn't even having this conversation if, and this is why.
What
I have a
about
problem-
mandatory paternity tests?
Oh fuck
Hold on,
yeah,
hold on,
baby.
hold on.
That's the
Anybody
mother
hear
lode.
my- can
We
anybody
got to
hear
get
my
Trump to
microphone?
do that.
Anyone hear my microphone?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I can
Yes.
hear
I can hear you now.
Like I was saying, right? The reason
That
why
violates the constitutional right.
If you bend your mic around next to your face, that might help. Oh, that yeah. Bring it. Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, let me say what. Actually, let me fix it. Can you hear me now? How am I now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're good,
we know
bro.
we hear
You're
you
coming
perfectly.
through
Yeah, you're just a little far from your mic. When you
Yeah.
tap it, it's loud as fuck.
Yeah, it's real loud. So anyway, this is why conservatives lose on the argument, the abortion argument shit, because they don't want to solve the economic issue. You wouldn't have the discussion of abortion. You wouldn't have all these little whores out here talking about abortion if you solve the economic issue. The reason why people, especially our generation, those who are in their 20s, the reason why we're not having children is because we can't afford it, right? Millennials have been told not to have children, because of, I don't know, we're guilty and I want to feel bad, whatever the fuck, the earth and all this stupid shit, right? How we get people to have children and how we remove this conversation of abortion is by solving the economic issue with the mothers and the children, by expanding childcare, by expanding the foster care system, by, of course, focusing on paternal, maternal leave, all these things that are going to build up the family, that's going to embrace the family, and educating people on what is the importance of having a family. Then the abortion argument's done. We don't even have this fucking conversation. The whole reason for why these fucking young girls are so adamant about abortion is because, one, they just cannot afford it. The dumb whores,
before you move on from that point, can I ask you a couple of questions?
Go ahead.
Because I want to stick to like point by point. The finance thing, the fact that you said that they can't afford them is really interesting to me. Yeah. Because that doesn't seem necessarily to be the case. In most from what I can ascertain from what little data I've bothered to read on who actually gets abortions these days, right? Yeah. And because we're not talking about generically, we're not talking about poor people getting abortions anymore.
Rich people who get abortions. Abortions are like $500 to $1,000, $1,500.
So that would immediately refute the argument that they can't afford the child. The problem is they don't want to disrupt their lifestyle because they have no sense of responsibility, no sense of duty, no sense of self-worth, and they just want to keep having fun. And so this is an interesting position. It's a really great campaign speech, and I think that you'll do well when you run for office. But it's a bad argument.
I think the big thing here is that most of the people who are advocating for abortion rights, the people who are actually going out there in the streets and making it like socially normative, are people who feel strongly about it. And a big reason they feel strongly about it is because they can't afford children. Now, these people also couldn't afford abortions, but these people also don't do their research. Most of them don't. Most of them don't look into how much an abortion costs. So what they're told is, or what they see is, well, I can't afford to have a child right now. Okay, this is true. All right, and then they're told that, okay, therefore abortion should be legal so you don't have to have that child. And then they go out in the streets and basically push this agenda and make it normative. So it isn't so much about who's getting the abortions. It's about, well, who's actually going out in the streets and who's being adamant about pushing this message of being pro-abortion, right? And it is these people, generally speaking, who right now cannot afford children. Like, look at most pro-abortion rallies. Who goes out for them mostly? Like 20-some-year-old college women or post-grad women, right? Who don't have a lot of money, who are probably in debt. They're the people who seem to publicly care about it the most. Now, these people usually do not have children, right? Because a lot of the time, even though they're not always the most responsible.
They're also the women who don't want men in their lives.
Exactly. But that's the reason I don't have abortion.
That's a much better argument than that they can't afford it. Because the reason that they feel like they can't afford it is because they want to go out and be boss babes and earn their own living and have a single income. And
it's not even that. It's not even that. We're still looking at a society where a lot of men and women today. We're not even talking about these little girls that they don't want men in their life. We're talking about a good majority of people. I can't.
I was addressing his point, sir.
Go ahead.
His point was I was addressing his specific point that the women, which he is correct, most of the women that you'll see protest abortion aren't even the type that are getting pregnant anyway, because they don't even date men, right? Like they just feel like that this has to happen. It's wrong if women can't have access to this, because if they somehow manage to get pregnant, if they're then they couldn't afford it, because they'd have to give up something in their lifestyle. They have too much in student debt. They'd have to go.
What about rape and incest? Rape and incest.
That's a stupid argument. That's like 0.001%. Why would you literally argue for something that is such a small variable? And plus, by the way, did you know that it's like 92 or 93% of women that are pregnant from grapes tend to carry the child to term rather than abort? Did you guys know that? Because I knew that. Anyway,
I knew that. I don't think that's a good thing. Honestly, don't think it's a good
thing.
Why do you think
you should have access? So you should still have access if you're raped.
Here's why. I don't think that we should be.
Again, you're talking about 0.001% of the cases.
I really don't.
Yeah, but you should still have access.
Yeah. No. I think so.
Again, I don't care about.
I don't think anybody on this panel
minor
sit back there and tell a woman
thing
that has been raped. You're going to carry this child. You're not going to have any access to abortion. You're going to carry this child. I don't care. Nobody on here has.
There's always the 3 exceptions. If you don't believe in the 3 exceptions,
there can always be an exception to the rule. But
I don't think it's
good. You just got to keep moving that goalpost.
I love you, my guy. I don't know what's going
down to earth. Can we put those back on the field so I can see the goalpost again? You've moved the thing like 18,000 fucking times already.
Axis, I know. I didn't move the goalpost at all. I've been staying on the same point I've been on.
No. First, it was that it was that the women they couldn't afford it, but now
they can't afford it. Hold on. They can't afford it. I don't know what you're talking about. Good majority of people.
How can they not afford it?
Hold on.
How can
hold on. Greg. Because I'm going to talk about this because obviously you're the oldest one on the panel. That's quite
I'm old as fuck.
Right? You're the oldest one. I'm not gonna say old as fuck, but you're old.
Oh, I am old as fuck.
I'm assuming maybe Gen X, right?
Oh,
if
yeah.
not a little bit. I'm gonna keep it there.
71, bro.
A lot of
71.
us were in our 20s.
Jesus.
A lot of us who are in our 20s or even in our 30s. I'm married. I just got out the military. I get about.
I've been married 20 years.
$4,000.
I got a 4-year-old, bro.
I can't afford to have children. Now, your generation most certainly can afford to have children. If you want to have another kid, I know most certainly you can because of your age, of course, of your success, all of that. But a lot of these people.
But you know what I did? You know what I did, though, Andre? Hold on. You know what I did?
A lot of these people are going even to their late 20s and 30s can't afford to have children economically. They just cannot do it. So what I'm saying is that, yeah, that's a problem. We want to make sure that families are able, we want to have strong, healthy families that can be financially able to help it, socially be able to have children. But we're still not seeing it.
That's
not a cop-out. That's the economic reality of Americans today. That's the economic reality of Americans today.
What is he hopping out over?
You actually get more child tax benefit if you have a child and you're unemployed or you're poor.
I hate to admit that he's right, but he is right. Look, here's the thing. I grew up dirt poor. I did not have any problems with it. I'm glad my mother didn't decide that, hey, she was too poor to have me. That's a really bad argument. When these women are going to live in poverty, it's really a bad argument when there's all sorts. I mean, there's everything from the amount of my tax dollars that go to support these women that you're claiming must have abortions is tremendous. Everything from WIC. They get housing. They get healthcare. Stop! I got to nail you down on this because you made a really good claim, and I want to refute the claim. I don't need you to continuously try and make the claim. You made the claim. I listened to the claim, and I'm going to refute the claim. There's no fucking way that you can't afford a child in the United States of America right now. There's programs every single where. And if you don't like it, go to a church. My church helps people all the time.
This is so indicative. It's so indicative of just the same mentality that he had in the previous conversation, where
that's the logic.
It's he doesn't care about other people. At the end of the day, it's every man for himself.
He's right though. He's right.
You don't get to look. It doesn't matter what I say in this conversation.
Listen to your elders.
I'm fucking right.
Hold on.
All that matters is my logic is right and your logic is fucked up and wrong.
No, it's not. No, here's the typical boomer argument that
somebody get him a fucking bottle.
Boomers will always make his own. Well, you just pull up. See, my mama grew up poor and had me. I get that. I respect
Walked
that.
uphill both ways to school.
The work that you put in society.
I did, actually.
We also have to understand that our generations are different, and the struggles of our generation are very different.
What fucking struggle are you talking about?
Hold on, boomer. Hold on.
He's talking from a privilege. He's talking from a privileged middle class upbringing. He's not talking from a lower class who have all the kids? Why do the immigrants have kids? Why do poor people have kids? It's because they get subsidized to have kids.
Yeah, they live 11 to 1.
You make money
in
having
three-bedroom
kids.
apartments.
Have kids.
Hold on. Hold on.
Yeah, bro, let's live in favelas.
Hold the fuck on. I don't want to have to start muting people.
We're gonna live in favelas, bro.
Yeah, we're gonna live in favelas, right? That's gonna be great.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna live favela life.
Dante,
We're all
you wanna go?
Brazilian
Yeah, I
now.
want to go.
Congratulations,
Dante,
make
you go
America
ahead.
Brazil again.
And after Dante,
Okay,
I want to go and get my.
I'm gonna go right now. So basically, I'll address the first thing that was said. John, you said he was coming from a privileged middle class upbringing. Andre was not. I can tell you that much, and I'm sure he can tell you. You're just kind of an idiot, bruh. But anyways, moving on to the second point about you mentioned how poor people have more children than rich people. As of 2019, no. Rich people outproduce poor people in terms of raw number of children they have. A big part of that, speaking of the struggle, the differences between generations, millennials and Gen Z will financially have more trouble purchasing houses, owning homes. That is an actual thing that we have today because the price of wages, the purchasing power parity for a wage, has not kept up with inflation, largely, not entirely, but in part due to increased immigration. Housing is more expensive now than it was 40 years ago. So we have less money in terms of purchasing power parity. Housing is more expensive. So things are just objectively more expensive for our generation. This is true. I don't think that point should really be debated because in terms of economics, that's just statistically obvious, okay? The point that is being discussed here, I think the point of relevance here should be, earlier we brought up that both rearing children and abortions are expensive things to get, right? Okay, so I think the big point is that on the pro-abortion side of politics, a big argument that is pushed on the ground is the economic argument, right? Even if we want to argue that that's not true, it's still an argument they make. So how can you take away from that argument? How can you essentially just refute that argument straight up? Okay.
You're asking me?
Well, there has been.
Just a second. You try to mitigate the economic problems, right? So if people are having trouble buying housing, even if an abortion is going to be as expensive as rearing a child, they're not going to think about it that way, okay? The way that they're going to think about it is, my bills are expensive, I cannot afford to bring up a child. Okay, so if you make their financial standing better, then that's not even going to be a thought that crosses their mind, and they're not going to make that argument on behalf of abortion. And then the whole pro-abortion argument loses a ton of steam at that point.
Well, you have section.
Thank you.
You have Section 8 housing.
Yeah, and
you have welfare.
Hey, John, have you ever lived in Section 8 housing, bro?
Terrible.
You have.
No, hold on.
You have.
I'll speak to that. The Section 8 housing thing. Some of our rentals take Section 8 housing, and they're not terrible.
They are terrible.
It depends on where you're from.
Well, I think Detroit's terrible. I mean, why?
Go to Cleveland.
Where you
Go to
are.
Cincinnati.
Back over,
Go to
baby.
Chicago. Go to New York. Go to
You're
any
talking
major
about
city.
fucking slums.
Go
dude.
to any major city, whether it be predominantly white or predominantly black. Go look any major city and look at Section 8 housing.
It really does depend. It really does depend on where you are because
Go to LA.
I have rental units as well, and as far as Section 8 goes, they have it depends on where you live because some Section 8 housing, they make you do inspections and the quality of the housing might be better than what you would get off of the market without a Section 8. However, I'm sure if you go into these inner cities and whatnot, they have much lower expectations than the Section 8 housing is shit. So it's not like a universal
Yeah, I mean, if we're
situation
talking
there.
slums, sure, okay. But if we're talking like most of America, you're wrong.
No. I would say, yeah.
And your logic train doesn't follow.
Project housing.
I wanted to address
housing,
what Dante was saying. I'm sorry. I wanted to let him finish because he seemed like he was asking me a question, and I was just saying
something.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll still kind of address it. So no, I agree with all of what you said. Housing is more expensive, right? Things are more expensive. However, people are still paid more than they were. I don't make $4, and I don't pay $4 an hour.
Okay.
So hold on. Let me finish. When we talk about young people who are not able to afford things, actually having children tends to help them because they have access to more things.
No, it does not.
I understand that you guys that live in slums may not see that. Here where I live, that is in fact the case.
So
right?
There is not a single. So this is obviously. This is obvious. Okay, I've been listening to you for like 15 minutes. Let some other people talk.
No,
So
he addressed my point.
We've
You
already.
talked all fucking day. What the fuck you talking
What are you talking about, Gertie, over there? You think
I
it's your
want to see
fucking
the dude
show
in the
bumped
hat.
him left because you're
the
hosting
dude
at
in
this
the
point?
brown
Fucking
thing.
hell.
Let me
Whatever that
address
is.
his fucking.
Hey, ladies. All right.
Let me address his point. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, he's gonna address the fucking point in the most longest possible way.
just let
It's
me.
going to definitely
do
take
it.
a long time to keep interrupting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So,
like it's gonna
Grid,
be
what you
productive
said
anyway.
Your
about
fucking
the way-
TikTok brain can't take a monologue.
Shut up! Fuck!
Okay, Grid, what you said about the $4 an hour. Yes, people are getting paid more in terms of like, okay, when my father was a kid, you get paid like $2, $3, $4 an hour for what you get paid like $13. Well, no, $12 an hour now.
A little bit more
But
than
the
that.
point,
but sure.
yeah, the point is that in terms of inflation, when you account for inflation, that's actually less money. So there are entire statistical models that show that if you account for inflation, it is less money. We are making less money in purchasing power parity. PPP. We're making less money.
Right.
in
Yeah,
purchasing power parity.
I really do understand that.
PPP.
Math, but I'm not looking.
The second thing you brought up was that you get more benefits from having children. That is not my point. My point is people.
I understood your point. I was making a second point on that, but I will. I'm going to really quickly, and I'll let Pamfusa, whatever. Pamfusa. Thank you. I'll give the floor to him. But sure, inflation doesn't account for things. However, it doesn't mean that just because you can't buy a 4-bedroom house doesn't mean that you can't afford to have a child.
No, I'm not saying, and that's not my
right.
argument.
I just wanted to clarify because that's what's being said, right? It's like if you have this child, you can't afford shit in life, and your life is ruined, and therefore you need to murder a child so that your life is not affected. I just think that's fucked up.
Well, that's fair. But my argument was that is an argument that is made, and if you eliminate that economic worry, then they can't even make that argument anymore. So the real thing is, how do we mitigate the arguments made on the other side? Okay, let's eliminate the causes for a lot of their arguments, even if they're fallacious causes. If you eliminate them,
I'm sorry, I got to let Pamfusa talk because I promised him I would. But just one thing, man, I can't help people that chose to major in underwater basket weaving, bro.
We're not talking about people who are majoring in that. We're not talking about that. That's not.
It's not even related to the point.
You used to be able to walk out of high school and have a job.
Yeah,
I really want to hear what the Sam guy said.
Hold on, we're not even talking about this. People are even in the military too. Can't even afford to have children, and you get BAH, you get a whole bunch of shit from that. And a lot of these guys can't even afford to have kids. They can't even afford to have this shit. It's too much for them. Some of them stay in the military because if they get out, they're really not gonna be able to afford to have kids. I'm glad I didn't have a kid when I was in. I couldn't have a kid right now, even from what I'm getting. No. So we're looking.
That's actually a good point too. I didn't have kids until I was 35. Actually, 40.
Which is usually the average age.
That's the average age.
But it's why age gaps are a good thing. You need to have a younger woman so that way you can
Shut
have
the fuck
more.
up. I don't want to hear your fucking retarded take, motherfucker.
That's right. That's right.
Of course,
I will come over there and beat your ass.
If you're 35,
I really want to hear what
Age gap relationship's great again.
I've been waiting to hear from the Pamfusa guy, guys. Come on, I want to hear his position.
Well, the thing is that yes, you may have a lot of subsidies and stuff like that, and the thing is that even with those, yes, the thing is that you don't necessarily you would want a perfect thing, but the problem is that sometimes you don't. There's a lot of things that happen, accidents happen. There's a lot of people that are poor and have children, but the thing is that the subsidies that are given in our current economy are not really that well, and some people just don't get them for stupid reasons. And the thing is that I would agree on the mitigating the economical thing. It's for example, certain European states like Hungary have literally, I think 2018, they legislated a law to where they pay you to have fucking kids, basically. But a different story besides that. The thing with now just having an abortion just because you physically can't afford it, I would disagree, because that goes back into the whole idea, well, then you're just killing a child for no fucking reason. There's protective things that help you prevent that, but like I said, accidents happening. Now, the thing is that yes, the average wage is like 15 or something like that. Even as a person who makes $35,000 a year on single income, if I had a wife and I had a kid right now, it would be hard. It would be extremely hard. We would struggle, and I may not be able to afford many things to help raise that child. No, I can still raise the child. But the thing is that the fact that we are at that point to where people are generally saying that I don't want to have a kid because I physically can't afford it is a problem not only within our society, but also our economics. We don't have the economics of the 80s, the 70s, and the 50s to where we can have that nuclear family, even though you can argue if that existed or not.
This isn't my position, but it's not a position, but I have to say that if somebody literally told me that I can't have a kid because I can't afford it, because it might be, I might have to go without, it would be very hard on me. I don't know what I would think about that person, dude. My mindset is always, I just work harder. I make more money. I may have to, get a second job. I may have to do something. I may have to do things I don't want to do, but it will get done.
Great.
Right?
Didn't you say earlier?
Yeah, but then you have a latchkey kid.
Brother? Like,
I am a latchkey kid. Yeah, for sure.
As a Christian, didn't you say earlier that you're not in the position where you can legislate morality, and you're not also?
Yeah, I definitely can't legislate morality. I mean, it's not like I can make people be good. That's why I say it's not really a position. It's just my point of view that if I heard somebody saying that the reason that I can't have a kid is because I can't afford it, because I only make X amount per year, and I just, I would be scraping by. As a matter of fact, I know a guy right now that's in that situation. He has 2 kids, and I'm like, my heart goes out to him. I hope he gets all the help he needs financially and otherwise. But it is what it is. He's he's having to sell off some of his cool stuff that he's accumulated over the years because he's got to pay for the kids, man.
Well, you got to think about this. Those kids are now going to go through this hardship and this heartache, which why would we want that to happen? Don't we want to live in a society where we don't have more children living in poverty? They're not living in a lower social economic status. We don't want that.
So you want to kill kids to make it better?
Nobody here is. I'm not a pro-abortion guy. I'm not like, abortion. We need to have abortion. What I'm saying is, when I start off with, is the reason for why conservatives and people on the right lose the argument on abortion is because they're not solving the economic issue. The moment that you get rid of the economic problem that people are having for why they're supportive of abortion, the moment it is you win that argument. There's no need. It would completely be thrown out because no one.
I disagree. I don't think I've never heard anyone make an economic argument for abortion. You're not the first person I've heard say that.
So
you're not listening to him.
It's really not a matter of whether or not people.
What I'm saying is this:
the child, because at the end of the day, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Axis.
Go ahead, Axis.
So everybody has said something a little bit that's correct in the sense of, can you just work harder and can people afford kids? Yeah, I know people with a lot of kids and they're able to make do. So typically it's not like they're going to go under. There's programs and there's things that they can do in order to get by. The thing that Andre is saying is correct in the sense of that might be, yeah, I'm going to work hard and I'm going to do what I need to do to take care of my kids because I could never conceptualize the idea of killing my kids. That's something that a Christian would think. We're talking about people that don't have that kind of moral fortitude and they would be more willing to kill their kid in general. That economics might not
I'm not making a moral argument, though.
Well,
I'm not even Christian and I make that fucking argument.
I'm agreeing with you guys.
Okay.
Fucking hell.
I understand. I just I get that
I'm trying to say the correct thing about, and I'm looping it around because what you're saying is correct, especially from a Christian perspective and a work and get shit done, because believe it or not, we're probably more alike than you might think.
Also understand that any position I take during a debate is a position. Doesn't necessarily reflect how I actually feel unless I say how I feel.
Right. And I mean, but what Andre is saying is correct in the sense of, and Dante as well, mitigating.
Also, I don't care how many times I call you a dumb fucker. I don't actually think you're a dumb fucker.
Bunkin and Andre know me. I trust me. I've called people.
There's my head.
Worse.
You call people worse, bro.
I've called people very mean things, but I shouldn't have. And this goes back to the previous conversation that we were having about what the role of government is. Mitigate, and there's a third option, or the third issue to this as well. The economic factor is that the economic stress is so high that if somebody is having a kid, they have to think about, I'm going to have to knuckle down, get 2 jobs, sell all my shit. And then they're like, damn, maybe I am just going to kill my kid because I can't do all of that. It shouldn't be that sort of a situation. And what role the government has in mitigating that would be the debate there. And the other option is obviously the moral one, that it's and I would say contraception is probably the biggest reason why abortion is as common as it is, because it's the single biggest reason why promiscuity is as high as it is. So you need to address all 3 of those situations and tie it together. And you're only going to do that through some sort of societal incentive. Now, Gritty's going to say that the government has no role in that whatsoever, and everybody's an island unto themselves, and that shouldn't happen. Andre's going to say,
I'm going to say that your community, it's community over government every single time.
I'm sure you've read, and I'm sure you've read Bowling Alone, and the situations where there is no more community. We're so deracinated at this point. We have to create communities online with people. All right. I've done that myself. I have a mutual support group that we help each other out, but I literally had to go out and create that because it doesn't exist in my society. Even where you would usually find that in the church, or you would find that at the VFW, it's not there anymore. We have to create that. So then you do end up having to look to the state in some regards of, is the state going to step in and help incentivize good behavior?
Not ever.
Why would you not want the state to help? So then we have a very dysfunctional nation. Then you're going to need the state. The state is going to have to step in at one point in time. If you don't, then you just have chaos. You've got to have the state. Here's what we have now.
Want the state to do it, then the community needs to do it, and they're not.
If you don't have the state to do it, you're just going to have big business do it. That's what we have today. The big business does that, and they do whatever they want for their own personal gain and profit.
Yeah, that's actually agree that we don't have communities. It's just we don't have the communities that you're thinking about. Because the thing is, our communities today is people bonding over a fucking product. Like, oh shit, you're an Adidas fan? So am I. Let's go hang out. It's also, it gets into a point of, it's a non-homogenous nation. Not many people are alike at all. Like even white, and I'm not talking about like a racial thing. Even white people don't like hang out with other certain white people because, oh, well, they're weird or that. And it kind of goes more into a culture, which is out of topic. But in the terms of bringing it back to abortion, is that this is why I hate the abortion topic, because it's just, there's no fucking correct, like, stern answer no one gives. Like, it's just no, abortion is not right. Abortion shouldn't be legal. Like and even when I'm saying that, I say this as like someone who says that, well, in certain cases, but in a general term, no, abortion should not be legal. It's very simple. There's no reason to have it.
Well, it's going to be very hard to even move to their point of making abortion like completely illegal. I hear what you're saying.
Texas did it. Texas.
Look at the response and the pushback that they're getting from that. I mean, look at the.
But they're not changing it.
They're not changing it because we live in America now. This is why I don't like the state's right.
The problem with abortion, making abortion illegal, it should be illegal. The problem is, how do you get that to be illegal permanently? because you can get a couple of governors, you can get a couple of congressmen in, and you can make it illegal for a short period of time. But if you don't rectify the issues that are leading to abortions, then eventually the generations shift and it's going to go back to being legal again. So it's always a temporary fix. And I think it's a good temporary fix, because any law that prevents children from being murdered is good, but it's always going to be a Band-Aid solution.
Well,
so
I feel like at some point you have to start changing the culture itself. You have to start looking
absolutely.
to the schools. You have to start taking back control of hearts and minds, so to speak. Because the reality is that most people are really wrong about abortion, about the entire their stance on. When you actually start talking to an anti-abortionist or a pro-abortion person, when you actually start talking to one, they're dumb as fuck. Like, they have no idea. Like, they say, well, what about grape? What about incest? What about all these things? Well, these are very low, very, very low numbers. And easily exceptions can easily exceptions can be made for that, but that doesn't apply to the mass majority that should be illegal. And then they say, well, what about if it's going to if it's damages a mother's health, if it's a question of the mother dying? Well, that's a medical decision, not a legal decision. A doctor makes that decision in a hospital, not in a courtroom.
That's why I hate the abortion topic, because it just constantly goes into, well, what if? It's not a pragmatic topic. If anything, I think it's a very stupid topic. I'm not saying that in this current moment, but just in a general political thing, that it's way too much talked about for something that is not necessarily that important to the overall community of the nation. Yes, it's bad. But, it's also the same thing with the prostitution, the debate, everything. What are we talking about on a grand scale? Is abortion affecting so many people on a grand scale that it's devastating our nation? It's really not. And the thing is, it's like, yes, as someone who has a moral and factual opinion that abortion is bad. But the thing is, hold up. The thing is that what is affecting the majority of the nation? What is affecting everyday people down the street, middle class, upper class, lower class, whatever? Abortion's really not that big of an actual issue. It's not many.
What makes it an issue? What does make it an issue is when women use that against men, and men feel slighted by it, whether they're right or wrong, and that creates tension, and that's unfortunately,
it's a divisive tactic.
It's a divisive tactic.
Well, it's an irreverence for life, and that's usually the larger issue. So abortion can't be treated as a standalone issue, because it's not. It's ultimately a symptom rather than a standalone issue on its own. But abortion ultimately comes from a irreverence for life in general, and the reason why it ends up being a big cultural issue is because deep down, when somebody is opposed to abortion, it usually correlates to them having a higher regard for life. I think they're people that would be more willing to take the shirts off their back and give them to somebody. And the people who are pro-abortion, you'll notice that those are the kinds of people who are like, that kid might not have the newest iPhone, so it might be a bad life, so he should die.
It's like, so I had a conversation. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, it really is it's not the core issue, abortion itself, like the actual act, but it is a symptom of it, because it really is a difference between people who care about other people and people who see individuals as either a vessel to give themselves some sort of validation, or they see them as a burden.
Philosophically, I could probably go along with that, but I think I'm kind of in Panfuse's camp here. It's a divisive issue. It's a tool that's used politically to generate emotion. Men hate it because the way the current system works is women have all of the authority, and a man. Let's just say that. And I actually one of my staff had this happen. He's dating this girl. She gets pregnant. He's excited. He's over the fucking moon. He's ready to marry her. Everything, in his mind, everything's fucking golden. And she's good. And then all her girlfriends start in on her about how, he's going to leave her. What if she's going to be stuck with this kid and blah, 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 all this stuff. And they basically talked her into going and getting an abortion behind his back.
Fuck
that bitch. Honestly,
right.
I hope she gets. That's when you need to bring back stoning. That's when you need to bring back fucking stoning. That's fucking horrible.
But he didn't know. Like for a month, right? And he's like, hey, can I go with you to the ultrasound? And she just kept making excuses and shit. And then he's
fuck that bitch. Fucking big. What's her number? Get her on the phone right now.
Well, I mean, in California, so she's probably awake. But
that's terrible.
It is terrible, and I don't know all of the because when it just puts for men, there's a instant revulsion, I think, around the idea of abortion because first of all, their choice is removed, and second, it's their progeny, right? It's like it's a continuation of their line. Now, I'm not talking about soy boys. I'm not talking about people who don't want to take responsibility for their own lives and won't cross the street without holding mommy's hand. I'm talking about men here. So that doesn't apply to everyone. But I think that most men just have an innate revulsion to the idea of abortion. And again, most of the time when I talk to pro-abortion people, it's all emotional. They have a bunch of made up facts. And when you give them actual facts, they just start falling apart.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's like I remember I had got into an argument with my sister-in-law about abortion one time, and she tried to say, "Well, if you're so anti-abortion, then why don't you want to have immigrants coming over the border with their kids? I thought you loved life." And it just gets into this really stupid, like you said, emotional argument. And that's the thing is like I hate when people say that you can't argue abortion in a moral aspect because it's an entirely moral debate. It is. You can't say that it's factual or, well, we only use facts here. It gets to a certain, you can say facts don't care about your feelings, but then again, feelings don't care about facts. At the same time, it counterbalances each other out. It's the abortion debate's an entirely emotional, opinion-based argument, which is why I don't really like arguing it because,
I get it. I get it, and I agree with you. I agree with it. Yeah. I like to think that I get to win a lot of those because once you give them facts, they crumble and fold like a house of cards.
Yeah, most people are fucking stupid.
Yeah, you guys are a level above. We'll go with that. So. The economic argument is one I had not heard before. I'm gonna have to build a
just to be like as genuine about that as possible. I mean, it sounds like you're a business guy. You do well for yourself. You said, well, that's congratulations. I mean, I make good money. I have rental properties. I can tell you right now that I make over 100K and I would not right now be very comfortable having a kid. Most people that I know, and I'm not talking about people that have underwater basket weaving degrees. I'm talking about guys who work underwriting jobs, people who have degrees in accounting that are also making 100K a year. They have 1 or 2 kids and they're working second jobs right now and their wives are working part-time.
Sure.
That's not something that people had to do in your generation. People walked out of high school, they walked across the street, they went to the iron mill or whatever, and they worked that job until they got their pension, and that was it. People can't do that anymore. The fact that I own properties right now is the only reason I own properties right now is because I had some good deals early on that I was able to take advantage of through friends. There is no way I would be able to compete with cash offers from BlackRock. It is difficult for people to have kids.
BlackRock, real estate's only like 8% of BlackRock's portfolio.
Right,
which is like but
8% of their portfolio, but they're also one of the largest.
It's like $9 trillion. Their portfolio is like $9 trillion. But still.
I even said this. I even said this with the military thing. You had people. I mean, I remember the Nippon from the Navy came out and said, soldiers should start going in and applying for welfare. You got soldiers that do that. I know soldiers that work 2 jobs. They go to duty, right? They show up the formation. Right, and on the weekends they do pizza delivery. But they're doing DoorDash and they're doing all types of shit because they just cannot afford to even have children. Now, of course, some private that's in the barracks has just got in. He's balling, right? He's getting that fucking $1,200 check. He's never had this before. He's got to work. But the moment he bangs up Susie from the fucking strip club, which we told him not to do, now he's fucking neck deep under. Or Bob comes in, who's got his girlfriend. He married his high school sweetheart, which he shouldn't do. I survived that. Now he's got a kid. He can't afford it. I know a fucking staff sergeant. They get paid good money. And he's got 2 kids. He can barely afford it. He's fucking struggling.
Look, I get all of that. I get all of that. But, you know, again, I mean, I live in a small town, relatively small town. It's a bigger town than ever, but I live in a relatively small town. I have lived in Denver, San Francisco, some other places. And I've been around here and there. Mm-hmm. The economic argument is just a weak one to me. Even guys, I know that guys somehow that make it on like 50, 55K a year, where that's like below the poverty level.
Right. But it's a weak argument to you because you're somebody who is above average as far as work ethic goes. And I'm not
that
trying
shouldn't be the case.
Yes, but
at that point, it just becomes natural selection.
This is what I'm trying to get at. And like, this is kind of like the frustrating part of like, kind of the way that people like you see things is that there is a baseline of people who are going to have a general level of IQ, general level of effort. People should be able to work enough to be able to have. It should not be a monumental effort and an Atlantean effort to hold the world on your shoulders. For every single person, and there's a lot of people that can push past that, but
my generation had it great, man. I'm telling you, both my parents worked. My stepdad did side jobs. My mom worked 2 jobs. We lived in we rented a house. Matter of fact, the entire time I lived at home, we never owned a house. We always rented. We could never afford to buy a house. Whole time. Everybody acts like my generation had it so fucking good. We didn't. People worked their balls off.
That might be you, though.
If I may. That's not. We're not saying about you specifically, but statistically, if we look at economics, it is a fact that on average, your generation did have a better in terms of purchasing power parity for wages and housing expenses. Now that is not true for everyone, and in your case, that certainly does not seem to be true. Right. And then there are many cases of our generation where people have great lives. Right. But we're just saying that the average,
we could argue then
down.
If we want to
argue, the average man should be able to work a decent. An average man should be able to work 40 hours a week at an honest job and be able to afford at least 1 kid and their housing expenses.
Right. Okay.
That should be the American dream.
Let me back up for one more minute. There was a difference in lifestyle as well when I grew up. When I grew up, people bought starter homes and they built equity. The people that could afford a house, you're right. They did go to work in a factory. They did make some money and they bought a starter home. It was a piece of shit. 2-bedroom, 900 square foot is a piece of shit. But they lived in it.
I'm still buying those homes for 3 times the fucking price.
Right,
so
right.
So that starter home was $15,000. I just bought it for $250,000, and then they're sitting there with $220,000 profit margin since they built that home, and then they're telling me that they had to buy that house when they were young.
Right. But that's still living in those. Hold on, that's irrelevant to my point. Let me finish, dude. People bought starter homes. They made some money. They sold that home. They moved into a different home. That was generally their forever fucking home. They didn't move after that. They bought 1 car, or maybe if they had a second one, it was not. Nowadays, poor people fucking have 2 brand new cars, making payments on both of them, a TV in every fucking room, fucking Xbox, subscriptions to every streaming service on the fucking planet. And new iPhones.
No, they finance them and then they get repoed.
Yeah, that's what happens
to them.
Yeah,
they finance those cars.
Right, but that's why they don't have any fucking money.
It's not because why.
That's part of it, but again, that is part of it, but that's not the entire reason. There are other factors at play here that we can see.
I'm being hyperbolic, but you understand. My point is that it was a different approach to life. Everyone I know, because I talk to a lot of young men, not as many young women. It's weird. I'm married and that sort of thing, but I talk to a lot of young men. I have a 14-year-old. I have a 4-year-old. I'm pretty involved in all of that stuff. I'm telling you, it's a completely different mindset. Like I don't understand how somebody that makes $110,000 a year is driving around in a new Suburban, which costs $105,000 off the dealer floor. How the fuck is that happen? That's crazy to me. I drive, and I can afford to buy a new car, but I have a 5-year rule. I don't buy anything newer than 5 years old.
So I'll tell you what's going on with those.
If I may interject, is that it's once again going to, well, this happens, my life, that happens. The problem is, yes, we can all agree some people are fucking stupid. A lot of people are fucking stupid.
I think
The
a majority
of the population, I honestly would say, are very stupid. People are not going to make right decisions. And the thing is that not only is this getting off topic from abortion, relatively,
Yeah, what the fuck?
but the thing is
when
that
we bring economics into it, we have to look at that.
true,
Yeah,
but
no,
at the
I
same
think-
time, we're comparing. It's the generational. Like I had this when I was younger. I do this. The thing is that in my position is that I'm 23. I make $34,000 a year. I have to. My taxes are about to come out, so I'll check that again. And the thing is, I live by myself. Have an apartment. It's dog shit, but that's because it's cheap. Which the thing is that, the starter homes, like, even with that, we're getting into a point where we're starting to argue just the basic standard of living is that the standard of living is not as great as it was possibly back in, because you said you're 70?
No, I was born in 71.
Oh, okay. I thought you said that you're 71. I'm like, I was
born
about
in
to say, I'm
71.
like, okay,
mom
so
I'm
you're in
53
your...
years old. So all right, so not that it's humanely, hugely relevant. I was born in 71. I lived through, all of the bad financial times. I lived through all of the shit that people talk about. Like today is like nothing to me. That's fine.
But the thing is that in the terms of my generation, Gen Z
Sure.
and a little bit of millennial,
Yeah.
is that we don't really have a lot of the opportunities that exist. Our economy's not as the greatest. It is shitty. But I believe that, I would agree with you in the certain ways of that if you make, honestly, if you make $100,000 and you can't afford to have a kid, you got something that you need to check what your finances are. You need to learn how to budget. You need to learn what the fuck you're doing and spending it on. But at the same time, it goes back to the whole thing that not many people.
Well, I mean,
smart.
I don't know what part of the country you live in, but let's just say
Texas.
that you live in Texas. Okay, so actually, and actually, I just had this conversation not long ago with somebody that lived in Texas. They were like, "How can I buy a house? I'm tired of renting. We're going to have a kid. I don't know what the fuck to do." He's able to work from home. I think his wife can't work from home. So she would actually lose her job if they did what I said do, which is I said move out further. They're like, we can't afford anything near town, and I'm like, well, move out further. There's
I would agree with that in some parts.
You're trying to buy a
How old is he?
$400,000 house for to save 10 or 20 minutes of commute when you can, which he doesn't even commute. He works from home. To move 30 minutes or 40 minutes further out, buy a better house for $150,000.
Grit, how old is he?
Now, what happens when they move and we'll increase it a little bit? So I work in public benefits, so I see this all the time. So what happens when?
He said, "How old is he?"
He's if I recall, he's about he's between 28 and 30 something, 32 maybe, somewhere along in there.
Okay, so he's probably doing good for himself financially.
I think he makes like 30, 40K a year, but he works remotely. His wife made all the money, to be honest. So
could I chime in and just make a couple of points?
Yeah.
Oh, we got an Australian. What's up?
All right. First thing, I'm just waiting for the executive order to be made by your president, and that order.
We're not annexing Australia, bro.
Well, let me finish, bro. All boomers are to be shot at first sight.
Jim, that
He
means
would
you
have to
too.
shoot himself.
No.
He would have to shoot
And
himself.
I'm on the line. That's first thing. Now,
Well, I'm an X. I'm safe.
All right, so there you are.
Clayton, there's way
I'm
too much
volunteering.
movement.
The
Hello.
other point on a serious side, I think you boys and girls and all those transitioning in this stream, you're talking 19th, 20th century economics, Austrian Hayek Marxist school of economics. You're talking apples and the world is oranges. You're talking industrial revolution, the work, making money. It's all pre-1945. Since 1945, let's be more precise, around 1965, we are not in an industrial society. This is post-industrial society. Let's keep it simple and stupid so all the dumb fucks can understand what I'm trying to say. First point is robotics. The work, you workers, you're talking about working, laboring, working on, on site, on the building, digging holes, whatever. That's bullshit. It's no longer relevant because you what do you sell? You modern slaves, you sell your time for money. For crying out loud. We're all slaves.
We slaves.
If you work for per hour, per whatever, per day, you're a fucking slave. I don't care how much you fucking make. So get out of this matrix, this old-fashioned fucking thing. Be with the times and read a bit of economics.
I'm
not an
Bitcoin.
economist. That's first.
Man,
first
shit,
point.
man, I'm a
Second
motherfucking
point.
slave, man.
Second point. The work as we know it, our value, what do we produce? We sell time. Time equals money, and you produce something. A good craftsman, what does he do? He does furniture. Antiques, restores antiques or whatever. Time, you pay for it. But robotics, drivers, you're talking about the biggest industry in America, in the modern world, is truck drivers. There's about 12 million truck drivers in America. You imagine giving them a sack and the technology, robotics is there. Driverless trains, driverless buses, taxis, Uber, you name it, including trucks. So what do you do with 10, 15 million people? You're going to have a fucking revolution on your head.
Hell yeah.
So what do? You give them porn? You give them football? And in Australia, we call them meat pies. And that's a fact. It's not a conspiracy theory. Just look around. It's just common fucking sense.
Thank you, Andre.
Is this train going
I really like the rant. I'm just not really sure where.
Jim, okay,
Is this train going somewhere?
Everyone.
Yes. Well, you gotta listen.
Announcement, everyone. Announcement, everyone. Okay. All right. If you're not familiar with how this show works, is we vote for a winner at the end of the night. Unless we want to keep going, I think we've reached the end of the night. We're at 3 hours and close to 30 minutes.
Yeah, we can understand.
Is there any other topics?
No.
None that I really want to mention. But Jim, you caught the deadline. Clayton, you did not catch the deadline to be put on the final poll. Okay.
Sorry.
Damn, who's
You're
him?
good.
What does he got to say?
You're good. You guys can rock out while I set up this poll. The poll should be ready to go pretty soon.
No cheating.
Everyone vote for me. If you don't, I'm going to find you and beat the shit out of you.
He can't see through that helmet. That's a lie. He's not going to find anything.
I'm going to find
Make
you.
prostitution great again. If you want to vote for me, I'll make prostitution great again.
I am literally Jay Golfer.
For everyone to vote for themselves. It's in the back. For everyone in the chat, it is right here. Boom. Everyone vote on that poll.
Damn. Panfusa, how you already got? Oh, I'm about to say, how you already got 5?
What?
I thought you had 5 points already. I was about to say,
I'm like, like I said, I told him it's through fear and violence that I win. If you don't vote for me, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
I took precautions.
You can't vote for yourself 5 times.
You should not be able to vote for yourself 5 times.
I just voted for
Let's
myself.
find out. Just kidding.
No,
It's okay.
I'm just playing.
If you feel like you need to vote for yourself 5 times, you.
No, because there is a prize. You do get $20. So I prefer if I actually got like clear results, please.
I will share my screen. I only voted once.
Andre, what are you running for?
I'm debating city council maybe here in Detroit. If I want to go big, it's going to take a few years. I might do mayor.
Sorry about that,
City council. You're not crooked enough.
I know. I got to cook a little bit more. Listen, we got to go to school first. So give me about 4 or 5 years, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah. When are you really in debt?
Bumpkin, did I put in the vote for me if I accidentally left the fucking call? Didn't cancel that out, right? I had 2 votes last time I checked.
Yeah, it looks like you still have 2.
Good. Okay, cool. Then it didn't cancel.
I'm sure I did it right.
Andre, what are you're planning on running something soon?
No, nothing soon. No. Hell no. Hell no.
Andre, do you plan on legislating the Crusades again?
Yeah.
Yeah, for Canadians, yes.
Because when you end up getting
that might happen sooner.
When you end up getting serious about running, let me know so that I can get you in touch with my guys.
Of course. Give me like 4. I just got out the military access. We haven't talked in a minute. Just got out the military.
Yeah.
It's been relaxed.
We need more votes in the poll, please. We need more votes in the poll.
Please vote for me, like I said. If you don't,
we're at a tie right now.
I'll find you, and I will kill you.
Niggas is voting for yourselves and shit.
I always vote for myself.
We vote for ourselves and shit.
Damn.
Just go ahead and vote for me because I'm cool.
Hell yeah.
No.
Hell yeah. What would you say? No, yes, vote for him.
Oh god, we're at a 3-way tie. We're at a 3-way tie. I'm gonna kill myself.
Vote for me because I want to spend that $20 on a bar tab.
It's between Andre, Dante, and Panfusa. No joke.
Really?
Sorry, Andre,
like I said,
Dante, Panfusa, and John Vance. Is chat trolling me right now?
Who the
Are
fuck
you guys trolling me right now?
Who the fuck?
Hey, can I toss it to John Vance? Can I toss my vote?
We gotta split. We're gonna have to find a way to split $20 between 4 people.
Yeah,
Roman salute.
Can I toss my vote to John?
No, shut up, please don't.
Make Roman salute great again. Vote for me.
Yeah, John wins.
Do not give him any money.
You have the deciding vote, Bumpkin. You have the deciding.
You would have to convert it.
I want a new car.
I would have the deciding vote, but I don't like doing that.
Well, life is unfortunate sometimes.
Oh god.
If you vote for me, I'll give everyone a free pony.
Thank you, Vermin Supreme.
You're welcome. You friendly neighborhood fascist.
Real.
Please vote in the poll. Please vote in the poll. I might have to roll a random meter here, guys. Might have to roll a random meter.
Let's just do it right.
Huh?
Let's just take the top 3 and vote for
Yeah, exactly.
You gonna do another one tomorrow, or is this it?
I can't do one tomorrow because I have to work.
When are you gonna do another one?
I do my show tomorrow, so I won't be.
Damn. When are you gonna do another one, Mike?
It will probably be sometime next week. I could probably do one next Friday. Friday would be a good
Fuck
day.
it. You doing one a week? What a bitch. Do one tomorrow. I mean, the other. Fuck that. Do one while you're at work.
That's crazy.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, stream from work. Let's go.
Let's
go. You get the
Hell
ghosts
yeah.
in the background and shit.
Get the fucking all the prisoners.
Andre, Dante, Panfusa.
Should I go to bed or go debate the Furby and make it look like an idiot?
Who's you said a furry?
Furby.
I don't even know what a Furby is.
It's a trans dude that I can probably get to rage quit.
I think that's the move right there. Debate the Furby.
Who is it?
If you vote for me, we're gonna start a Minecraft server and we're gonna make it based in Epic and Red Pilled. It's we're gonna have trad lives for everybody.
He's not. That's cap. That's all cap. All the way.
$20 can start a Minecraft server.
I will give everybody big titted goth girlfriends if you vote for me.
I'll give you.
Yeah, it's still split. All right. So here's what I'm gonna do.
Bring King Shinar dumbass up. Get your ass up here.
Should
nigga.
I
Bow
go
to the death.
trouble?
All right, are you guys ready?
What the fuck
Come on,
is
man.
this?
Decide
Come
to
on,
win.
man.
Why is John
Come on,
Vance?
man.
Green.
Come on. Come on. No.
Hell no.
No.
Let's
What
go,
the fuck?
Andre.
What the
Oh,
fuck? Second time. Second
Yeah,
fucking
baby.
time this motherfucker
Yeah,
won.
Let's go,
baby.
Andre.
Yeah,
This is
baby. We
rigged.
went all day,
Alright.
baby.
This is rigged. I think
This
this
is not
election is
That's
rigged.
rigged.
You saw
That's-
it
It's
spin real
rigged.
time.
It's rigged.
It's graft.
It's
He's
rigged.
just practicing
I
for when he
my-
runs for mayor.
I got stole. My election was stolen. It's rigged.
This is how
I'm
they do
gonna
it in
storm.
Africa, motherfucker.
That's
I'm
how
gonna
they do it.
storm Andre's house.
That's how they
I'm
do it
gonna
in
storm
Detroit.
Andre's house.
You niggas
We're gonna take back
He's gonna,
$20
he's
from
gonna
him.
send a shaman man after you.
He's
He's
gonna
gonna start doing Indian war cries.
We're gonna
White boys don't
commit
know how to
a.
get elected. We rigged the elections.
We're gonna sacrifice a live goat in front of Andre's house. We're gonna go in. We're gonna take
have
that
a
$20
friend of
away
mine-
from. We're gonna fight like
Andre,
hell.
I have a friend of mine who is an author and lives in Detroit. I think he's lived there most of his life. His name is James Tarr. He writes mostly about gun stuff and fiction books.
Okay.
And he's a really cool dude. But he like Detroit is so messed up. He's like, it used to be really cool, and now it's so messed up.
It's so messed up, and they think that Detroit is coming back because they've got a new, burger joint downtown and a whole bunch of bullshit. Like, it's honestly disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
He was talking about how you drive by these blocks and they're all like they've gone back to forest because everybody moved out and the houses fell down, and there's like you know.
It's disgusting. I posted a video on my TikTok, got a lot of views, got like 50,000 views on it. And people are like, that's not Detroit. That's not Detroit. You lying. No, it is Detroit. This is where we live. This is how it is. Show the beautiful parts of Detroit. Yeah, like what? Chicago.
Yeah, where? where do you want me to go, pal?
Downtown and maybe one there. Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Second place is apparently John Vance. That's what the wheel said.
All right. I'm gonna go cause trouble.
I'm the
somewhere else.
official opposition now. Look at
I haven't been that.
Was I third place?
You were third place. Yes, Dante somehow fourth.
Well, he's got the three things on top of his
How
head
was
there.
Dante fourth? I honestly thought Dante was going to win.
You
I
don't
thought
know.
I actually
that.
did too. To be honest with you, he was the most reasonable. And usually, when people vote, they vote for the most reasonable person.
No, we vote for the most based takes, and
It's not-
there's a
You
reason
had
why
none of
I
them.
finished
You
second.
had none of them, John.
I had plenty to store. Chat
Chat
agreed too.
Dude, I'm
Hey,
I'm
based,
just too
bro.
nice.
I'm
I
based.
inspired Jim
I'm
Bowden
sorry
with
about
his
that.
great take about
Yeah. Okay.
cheap
All right.
prostitutes for February.
See you later, Grid.
Cheap
I
prostitute.
All right. Thank you everyone for showing up.
Thank you.
Yes, awesome. Andre, the floor is yours. Do you have anything to say?
Not really, man. I haven't done streams in a minute, so I don't know if I'm going to go back to the streaming shit. Go subscribe to my channel, National Alternative. Subscribe to my TikTok, Andre Williams _US. Subscribe to my Twitter. I think I changed it to Andre something. Whatever. If you know where I am, go ahead and follow me. Great show as always. Honestly, I think Dante should have won. He did come in as the most reasonable person. It's good to have everybody up here. It's good to have everybody on the panel. Hopefully, Mike does this again sometime in the near fucking future. Not a whole week later. Come the fuck on, dude.
Oh my god.
Oh my, oh yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. It's taking forever for you to do these streams. You're gonna make me want to do it in a minute. I don't want to. Listen, steal your thunder. Stay warm. I know if you're living on the East Coast, it's been cold as fuck lately. So stay warm.
Womp womp.
God bless. Trump is a little bit base, but we're still not gonna ride his dick. We'll see what happens. That's all I got to say. Yeah.
Based.
Shout out to the listen, if you see me in DC recently, we've got some videos, got some footage. Hopefully Fox News puts out that article. Hopefully Al Jazeera puts out that article. Hopefully they do it, but if not, it is what it is. We just gotta
And you can check my channel, by the way. I have all the good clips from that. I'm sure you're gonna edit up your own stuff too with that too, Andre. And a lot of other people are gonna edit up that. We had lots of fun. We had lots of fun at the inauguration. That was super fun. Yeah, we do gotta talk about that. All right, everyone else, thank you for showing up at the stream, and hopefully next week
You
tomorrow.
gonna call me? You're gonna call me Uncle Tom because I ain't black enough for this?
Shut up!
I had to get it in.
This nigga John don't even know what we laughing at. The fuck?
But he knows. He knows. He has
The
like that
fuck
mental
he don't.
connection, bro. He
Uncle
knows,
Tom.
bro. You gonna call me Uncle
Anyways.
Tom?
I'm practically American now. Shut up.
know,
Trump claimed you.
Well, not yet, but you're getting there.
Yeah.
All
Hopefully
right.
you are never, but yes, not yet.
All right,
We
everyone.
almost infiltrated and we almost stole the stream. A Canadian almost won the stream tonight. It was just by a thin, but you gotta keep an eye out for the Canadian menace out there. You know, 'cause we're everywhere. Our tentacles are everywhere. You never know where we're gonna be.
Before I kill myself.
Yeah, no problem. Take it easy. Take it easy. Banfuza, take it easy. Dante, take it easy. If you guys want to still talk in the back chat,
I will be there.
Yep. I'm just gonna remove you guys down for now. All right. Boom. Boom. All right. Wonderful stream. Thank you everyone for coming out. This has been the Colosseum number 2. It, not gonna lie, it started off kind of rough, but we made it there in the end. To make my job less difficult, you can send me on Telegram or Discord, if you know me, questions that you'd like an entire panel to answer. You can also just show up on the panel, right? At the bare minimum, you have fun. At the best chance, you win $20. And like I said, as this progresses, as this gets bigger, I'm going to up that ante every stream. All right. That's that. Peace.
Already